D-Mace Fingan and Donick 1025, 1063 The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, David James, reunited.
And it feels so good.
I figured one of you would do that.
Yes, you knew it was coming. You know what? I'm just looking at, because they're playing the PGA Championship, and this is one of the things that I sort of kind of was weirded out about as an athlete. When you're walking into the stadium right before the game, they put the camera in your face. It's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to just keep walking? Am I supposed to say hello? Because I see Schaefer walks in. And I think that was McElroy that walked in. It may have been. And the camera's right in their face, and they're just like, just walking like, okay, what am I supposed to do? One guy smiles and waves. I don't even know if it was people on the other side of the camera or not. He just waved. But that is awkward. One by one, they just videotaping you.
You know, it's also one of the shots that every game has now, especially playoff games, but a lot of big games too. They get the players walking off the bus.
Yes.
Like, what do? Do you look right at the guy? Do you say, hi, Mom? Or you just act like the camera's not on you? Or, you have some guys like to come in with like a strut in. They got an outfit. They want people to see.
Are you supposed to change your walk? Like, when you see the camera, are you supposed to give it the cool walk? Like,
yeah.
Because they're going to slow it down some, too.
You can see the guy. Like, we're on the bus, the broadcasters, and they show the you can see the cameraman shooting the guys.
Yeah.
Then the funny part is when the broadcasters get off, the camera guy says, "Oh, that's the end of the players. Let's put the camera away." So you're like,
"You want your shot?
I'm ready to get my shot." And they turn the camera off. Come on, man!
You're ready to get a strut on.
I want to get on there.
You want to get in slow motion?
I'm on the cutting room floor.
Willie, I'm just glad that you knew how to get to work today. The one thing I learned about not hosting the show with the two of you this week is that when I'm not here, Willie loses all sense of direction, apparently.
Yeah. It was a really sad day yesterday. It was one of the dumbest things.
Did you get picked on when you went home?
Oh, yeah.
I had to hear what Aaron said.
Oh, man.
Really, Willie?
Yeah. I said, "Did you hear the show?" And she was like, "Yes."
Willie Donick.
Show.
Hold on, because every time, and people, if you've been around Aaron, the sweetest person in the world, but she calls Willie by his full name when I'm around. Will Donick.
It's always
Did she
Will.
call you Will Donick at home?
Oh yeah.
She didn't go William.
Will
No,
Donick.
she doesn't do the
Will
William.
Donick.
Yeah, she doesn't do the William. Very few people, for me, have done the William, but it's always Will.
Will Donick.
Will Donick.
It's called you Will Donick at home. So
just a lesson.
You hear that name? Do you? Yeah. So
if you tuned in yesterday, well, of course we weren't on at 11 yesterday anyway. But if you missed this, I hit the wrong button on my Waze because traffic patterns can take you in different directions. We just want to make sure there's not a big wreck on the way to the show. And I hit the wrong button, and it sent me somewhere north of town. And it kept so the Waze kept telling me to go this way and around. I'm like, this isn't the way to work.
Where did you say what happened about the turkey?
I said
it
that
all started
Waze
with the turkey.
was trying to get him back toward Portland.
Yes.
Where we bludgeoned the turkey with his car a couple of weeks ago. They were setting a trap for Willie.
They were about to jump you, Willie.
That's what it was. That's obviously what it was.
And I'm all for it too. I would have loved to see it.
But I walked outside this morning and the weather's a bit ominous, right? It's overcast.
Like it. Right.
There's that breeze that usually warns us that some sort of storm is rolling in.
The squirrels and the birds know it's coming.
Right.
You can see them wrestling around like it's coming.
It's a bit ominous. It's a bit foreboding, which means only one thing. Jared Stillman is back on the radio.
The storm came rolling in.
And we'll talk to Jared at the end of our show. And I have 2 bones to pick with Jared Stillman now that he's back from vacation. So we'll do that at the end of the show. So understandably, there's been a lot of discussion about the NFL schedule, the Titans schedule. Stop me if you've heard this one already. The Titans have 0 primetime games.
How many?
0
Oh.
primetime games, along with the Cleveland Browns and New Orleans Saints. And Mike North, who is the NFL VP of Broadcast Planning, he's been making the rounds on podcasts and such, talking about the
Why
process.
would anybody want to have that guy on a show? I don't get that. That's me.
Regardless, he's been making the rounds on podcasts and such. And one of the questions he has been asked multiple times is why the NFL did not give Cam Ward and the Titans a primetime game this season. Here was Mike North on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast explaining that decision.
One of the criticisms I've seen so far, Mike, of the schedule is no primetime games for the Titans, despite the fact that they had the #1 overall pick and they took Cam Ward. And maybe perhaps some of that is because people don't think Cam Ward and the Titans really got their due on draft night, and that maybe it was overshadowed. How tough was it to not give the Tennessee Titans any primetime games, knowing that they had the #1 pick in the draft?
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. I mean, you know how this works. We've got probably a dozen schedules in front of the commissioner in that last week. Some of those had the Titans on Monday Night Football. Some of them had the Titans in the TBD pool for Saturday for the NFL Network. It wasn't a conscious effort going in maximum 0 Titans primes. It was more about a mixture of all the rest of what has to go into the soup. You don't draft your way into prime time. You play your way into prime time. So just because you had the #1 pick doesn't mean you automatically make the prime time schedule the following season, but certainly fan interest will be there. I think they're on national television in the preseason, so at least fans will get a chance to see Cam play then if he's playing. But I'll tell the Titans and I'll tell the Saints and I'll tell all the teams what we tell everybody. Nobody knows anything. It's sports. It's the NFL. It's the beauty of the league, right? There's 4 or 5 playoff teams every year that finish last in their division the previous season. There's always something like that. So you've got every chance to play yourself into bigger television windows, whether we flex you to a Sunday night or a Monday night, or we expand the footprint of your game on CBS on Sunday at 1 o'clock. You can get to 60, 70% of the country on a Sunday afternoon if yours is the game that matters. So they've got every opportunity, just like every other team, to play their way into bigger windows. And look, I hope they surprise us every year. Somebody surprises us, right? 2 years ago, we didn't put the Texans on national television.
All right, enough of this guy already.
That's basically
Wow.
okay.
Who the heck
This
is
dude
this guy?
basically said he gave the Titans the middle finger.
My
Like,
favorite part
he
was
just gave everybody in the city, you know what? Shut up and sit down. That's basically what he
This guy
said.
looks like he spent his whole life getting ready for these
Oh my
interviews. Like, I can't wait
goodness.
for them to bring me on the show so I can talk
Wow.
about how I made the schedule.
my favorite part was they're on in the primetime in the
Yes.
preseason, which is true. On August 22nd,
Oh.
they have a 7 o'clock game against the
Every
Vikings.
team plays at 7 o'clock damn near in preseason. Like,
I thought I was going to be here like a real shy, like behind the scenes nerdy guy, who spends the time under the computer. That guy sounds like he wanted to be a talk show host
man.
or like a public speak. Like, who is this guy?
Look how disheveled he is. That's him on the right.
You know what? He's upset because he has to do that. They said, you do it. Go tell them. Go
He
you go
enjoyed
tell
that.
them.
He was
I
enjoying
know
that.
he enjoyed it, but he was like, no, you go tell him. And he was like, seriously?
Why-
It's like, yeah, go do it.
Why are we?
You
doing
know what?
this?
Listen,
Bradford on our text line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com, says, "What a piece of poop!" Except he didn't say poop.
I know. Titans, listen. Amy, listen. The NFL has just told you what they think about your organization in your city. They're glad to see you're making money, but they just told you what they think about the city and the organization. They sat here and they said you don't draft your way into any primetime games. You don't? I mean, I'm sure Caleb Williams had primetime games.
The last #1 overall pick quarterback who did not have a game in primetime was Cam Newton in 2011.
So
He
Caleb Williams,
stepped into all kinds of
Trevor
of landmines
Lawrence,
with that
exactly.
ball game.
Trevor Lawrence, all these teams that were picking #1, they were bad the previous season, right?
Yeah.
But they were awarded primetime games. That's the most asinine statement I've ever heard from the NFL. Well, one of them. I ain't gonna say that's the most, but it's one of them.
Well,
The most
schedule rules have changed, right? At some point, every team had to play at least once in prime
Right.
time,
That used to
right?
be the rule.
So that plays into
And they
this as
usually
well.
would put those teams that
They
are
counted the
yeah,
Thursday night game.
they put
as that,
Thursday
yeah.
night. But my thing is, listen, it's almost like you didn't prepare for the backlash that you were gonna get. So it was like, okay, let's say this without really thinking about it. You can't draft your way into a primetime game. Well, frankly, the Chicago Bears hadn't been good in the last 4-5 years, and they played primetime games the minute they got Caleb Williams. So when you say things like that, it just sounds like a load of you know what.
According to Nick Suss of the Tennessean, Caleb Williams played 3 primetime games last season, not including games in London or on Thanksgiving. Bryce Young played 2 primetime games in 2023. Trevor Lawrence played 1 primetime game in 2021, not including the game in London. Joe Burrow played 2 time games in 2020. Kyler Murray 1 in 2019. Baker Mayfield 2 in 2018. Jared Goff 2 in 2016, not counting the game in London. Jameis Winston 1 in 2015. Andrew Luck 1 in 2012. And then Cam Newton had 0 in 2011.
See, to me, when you make a statement like that, it's like, one, you're telling the fan base just to shut up. Y'all not good. We don't care about you. We don't care to put you on. Now he one thing he did say that I do believe, and I said this yesterday, their schedule is to be determined, TBD, later in the season. So to me, that always meant if you're doing well, you can get flexed into a primetime game, which they still have the ability to do that. And I do hope that happen. But to not give them at least one game, the number 1 pick in the draft, a quarterback, I could see if he was a defensive lineman or something, okay. But a quarterback, you don't give them one primetime game and then say, well, they got one. It's in preseason where everybody plays at 7 o'clock in preseason. Who cares?
I have 2 texts to read.
Wow.
One from Dylan in Antioch, who says, I wasn't mad about not getting any primetime games till I heard that D-bag blather out that nonsense. Chase McCabe on our personal text line said, this sounded like the basketball coach telling me in the 4th grade that, yeah, you know, if you just keep working, you're going to get to play more, knowing good and well he had no intention of ever playing me.
Yeah, they had no intentions on putting the Titans in a primetime game, but then they give us that load of you know what. The NFL, they need to do better in this situation. Just do better. Just do better.
Devin and Dixon says, that guy sounds more full of crap than the Thanksgiving turkey.
That
Just say the
was
NFL
ridiculous.
doesn't care about the city and team and move
Exactly.
on. LOL.
That's basically what the
but
NFL
he
is
acted
saying.
like there's this policy that he's that you don't draft your way. Like all of these things that he said were not true. Like we just went back through all of the years.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty clear in the past you have drafted your way to it. That's not what it was.
Y'all
He should
don't
have just said in about 30 seconds instead of a long 2.5 minute diatribe with all these different things that, hey, we just didn't do it. Life's tough.
Right.
I would have respected that more and saying, hey, we're not obligated to put every team on there. I know we'd love to
they
try
can
to do
flex
that.
their way into it.
They can flex their way
Which he
into it,
did
but
say in
yeah.
other interviews, not in that particular
Yeah.
clip, but he did say in other interviews that, you know, for example, they play the Chiefs at the end of the season. They could flex into that. So he did mention the flexing aspect of it in other interviews.
Yeah, probably after he saw that interview, they were like,
I don't know
okay,
the order in which those
Yeah.
Somebody
interviews
from
were
the
conducted.
PR team
Exactly.
is like, I need to call Mr. North. We need to talk to him a little bit.
we need to rephrase.
We need to get
this,
some talking
message.
points.
Exactly.
Get
We
him
need
back
to-
on point.
We need to rephrase this message.
You're
okay?
probably going to be asked why Cam Ward isn't on primetime. Please don't say that they have a preseason primetime game.
That thing you said right there,
Take
scratch
it
that
out.
off. Scratch that off of your talking points.
Who's this PR person? Jordan Hudson?
Jordan Hudson.
They said
Oh man.
they said in Carolina to bring that up. They said in Carolina now you got to be very specific when you say Jordan, because people are gonna say, well, which Jordan are you talking about? Michael Jordan
Yeah.
or Jordan Hudson?
Yeah.
So now you got to be.
There
You gotta say the whole
are
name.
the Jordan rules and the Jordan rules because Jordan Hudson spells her name with Jordan J-O-R-D-O-N.
Jordan.
Jordan.
Jordan. There we
So,
go.
the different Jordan rules.
Well, NFL, you done botched another one. Gosh, man. And I feel bad for Titan fans because essentially that's what they're saying, that you guys, your city, your organization, your team, your stadium, y'all not worth it.
I thought they would get at least one token primetime game, a Thursday night game, the doubleheader on Monday night like they had last year.
Mhm.
I thought they would have one at least. So I
But
was.
are
a bit
you
surprised.
bothered? Like I said this yesterday. I don't really care. I don't. I like the Sunday routine of having them
Yeah,
on
you're a
Sundays.
creature of habit,
I
man.
like
That's
that,
right.
but
No, I'm not
so
upset.
I'm not bothered by it. But it is fun to
Mhm.
watch the reaction to this. And then this guy is right out of Central Casting. If you wanted to tick off everybody in Nashville,
He is the total heel right now. I'm not upset. I'm just like, y'all got to give that explanation that y'all gave was just a
no,
crock
that's the
up.
thing that
Yeah.
bugs me is he made up all these policies. That's
Yeah.
not true. You don't draft your way into prime time. Well, Caleb Williams was on in prime time a bunch of times last year.
Exactly.
One tweet
Just
I
last
found.
year.
One
So
tweet.
that's not it. That's not the policy.
It is now apparently.
Yeah.
One tweet I saw that made me laugh was NFL said no Cam Ward in prime time when all the world wants is Titans, Jaguars, and color rush uniforms on
Right.
Thursday Night
That
Football.
used to be the thing, the color rush on Thursday night. That the mustard Jaguars and the all Columbia Blue Titans.
Yeah. Oh well. Titans. They told you what they think.
Remember the
about
Jags had those weird two-tone helmets? Like half of it was gold and half was black. That was
it was the
boy,
front.
that
Wasn't it?
bad.
Was it the front was one color
was
and the back
weird.
was another color? Wasn't it? Or
I
was
think
it?
so. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was
sounds.
it was not good.
But we're going to talk about this in the next segment about the competitive imbalance
Mhm.
that the prime time schedule seems to create. But I'm just looking at the prime time games for this season. Unsurprisingly, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be all over your television. They lead the NFL with 7 primetime games. The Cowboys, again, no surprise, 6 primetime games. But the Dolphins get 5 primetime games. The Falcons get 5 primetime
Wasn't
games.
both of those teams bad? They were not good.
Yeah,
last year.
neither of them
Okay.
were good.
Okay. I just
But the Titans can't get one. Again, I'm not really that upset about it, but I heard that clip from that guy yesterday and said, man, this is making me really angry for Titans fans. Just listening to this guy attempt to explain the
You
reason
should be.
behind the Titans not getting a primetime game.
But that's the thing he should have said. It's like I don't know why he's going on shows. If I'm the NFL, I would just say that's how we do it. Live with it. Deal with
I
it.
sent out a press release.
You play on Sunday. Your fans will get to see your game for free.
I'll let y'all argue over the press release and not the actual words that came out of somebody's mouth that you heard.
Yeah.
No.
No, let's not act like this is rocket science or some philosophical debate that they had. You think they spent time and they're going, well, should we put Cam Ward on prime time? The fans are going to get mad in Nashville. Let's start. I mean, they didn't do any of that. They just put the computer thing in there and they're like, oh, we don't have the Titans on prime time. Is that all right? Yeah, it's okay. Okay, let's go with it. No big deal. That's all
sounds
they
about
did.
right.
Hey,
They
the
didn't have
Titans
some
The
philosophical
Titans are not on
debate.
here. I don't worry about it.
You think somebody in the room said, you don't draft your way into prime time. The Titans, they're out. Cross them off the list.
It's a
That's our
TV show.
policy. Oh, wait. Caleb Williams last year. Forget that. It's a new policy. You don't draft your way into prime time. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on that. Mike North, an incredibly unpopular person who nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who Mike North was until 20 minutes ago. Now he's incredibly unpopular in the city of Nashville. We'll take your thoughts on all of that. 615-737-1025. Tune in today to 1025 The Game for Vanderbilt baseball. As the Commodores face Kentucky, Willie Donick.
Oh,
An
yeah.
exciting Vanderbilt game last night.
Unbelievable drama at the Hawk. Trailed the entire game. 5-0 after the first inning. Did not lead. Trailed until 2 outs, 2 strikes, bottom of the 9th, 3-run walk-off homer. It was unbelievable. There's something special going on over in West End. It is something. It was something. Great crowd, too.
You can tune in today to 1025 The Game for Vanderbilt baseball as the Commodores face the Kentucky Wildcats. Pregame begins at 5:45 and first pitch is at 6. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com.
North
Dead.
That's the Titans fan.
man.
That was a live look at the Titans fan club in there after the schedule. They want a piece of Mike North.
Mike North, the
They're
NFL
putting the wanted signs right now. If you see Mike North on Broadway, I want to know about it. We're coming after him. Dead.
Mike North, the NFL VP of broadcast planning.
Oh man.
Titans fans are going to burn him in effigy after hearing that clip about how you can't draft your way into primetime,
Oh,
guys,
wow.
but you can watch him in the preseason if he plays.
You can draft your way into a preseason primetime game. Yes, you can do that.
Apparently, Nate on our text line says, sounds like he wants to have a show like Jared's. Well, maybe.
Maybe, just maybe. Man, I've never heard anything.
Coming up on Stone and Company, Mike North.
There's that funny commercial where the guy, is always in everyday life commenting on there's a podcast about whatever comes up in his daily life. Why can't you have a podcast about scheduling?
Yeah, might as well.
This guy is ripe for that. He could start the first ever scheduling podcast.
It's going to be called You Don't Draft Yourself into Primetime, featuring Mike North. But Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk had a story yesterday with the headline, NFL's primetime scheduling again creates a competitive imbalance. And he writes in part, quote, the selection of primetime games isn't only about imposing on the teams that have been good. The process entails making a guess as to whether a team will be good or at least interesting, regardless of whether the team has a history of playing well enough to deserve the burden. Last year, for example, the Jets had 7 standalone games in the first 11 weeks, including 2 Sunday-Thursday short weeks. The Jets got the chronically short straw, even though they haven't been to the playoffs since 2010. At the time, Mike North justified giving the Jets the scheduling business by explaining that the Jets, quote-unquote, kind of owe us one, after Aaron Rodgers' Week 1 season-ending Achilles tear made their 2023 primetime games far less attractive. In 2024, Rodgers started every game during the gauntlet and beyond, and the Jets went 5-12. This year, the Cowboys have 6 primetime games and a record 4 Thursday games. Despite not making the playoffs in 2024 and given their schedule, unlikely to do so in 2025. Likewise, a pair of non-playoff teams who aren't currently regarded as shortlist contenders, the Dolphins and Falcons, have been tabbed for 5 primetime games each. Both teams also have an early morning standalone European game. The league apparently is making a bet that Miami and Atlanta will be good. Having 6 standalone games could help make that a self-defeating prophecy. So that's why I find the NFL primetime slate to be so fascinating. Again, the Dolphins and the Falcons, 2 teams that did not make the playoffs last season, have 5 primetime games.
Well, he's telling you right there in that article that, when you're talking about Chicago and Miami, they're projecting that these teams will be good. They're looking at the Dolphins last year and they're saying, well, they had a bunch of injuries. Was going through quarterbacks. This is why this team was bad. I don't know how they look at Chicago and sort of make that argument, because they're fielding basically the same team that was healthy last season. They're fielding them this season. But they have a new coach this year, right? Or their new coach was last year.
The Bears have a new coach in Ben Johnson.
Yeah, this season.
But the Dolphins, and I'm talking about the Dolphins and the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons have 5.
Exactly. But my
games.
thing is, you look at Atlanta and you see the marquee players. They have them. The Dolphins have marquee players, and they're projecting that regardless of what happened to them last year, the season that they had last year, because of the players, they will be he anticipates, or the league anticipates, they will be much better. They look at the Titans and they don't see those marquee players across the board. Say they don't anticipate them being any better than what they were last season.
To that point, Willie, Mike Florio continues, quote, the league also expects that the Titans, Browns, and Saints will be not too good. And it will be not bad for them to have the routine and normalcy that comes from playing most of their games at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. The Browns will play a standalone game in London. 2 years ago, the Texans played 16 games at 1 o'clock Eastern before landing on Saturday night for the de facto AFC South Championship game against the Colts. Houston parlayed their low profile into a very unexpected playoff berth. This year, don't be surprised if the Titans make a run at the same accomplishment. Overlooked and disregarded, just like number 1 overall pick Cam Ward was during the draft, the Titans can quietly go about their business, stack wins, and get themselves into postseason contention.
All right, let me ask the former player.
Uh-huh.
And my perspective is as a traveling broadcaster
Mhm.
and going through the grind, I'm not playing, but I'm on the same time circuit as players.
And your grind's longer.
And with the Predators in the Western Conference, and Adam, you've been on this grind as well, you know that logistics of getting from point A to point B, the fans don't see that. And you cannot sit there and say, well, hey, the team got in at 3 a.m. last night, which does happen the night before a game.
Flying from
3 a.m.
Nashville to Vancouver is not fun.
Right. And for example, last year there was a flight from Washington, D.C. to South Florida. And the team got it, by the time you get to your hotel, it's literally between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. You got a game that night. That's not easy.
No.
But you can't use it as an excuse. And you say, well, it's the same for everybody. Well, it's not the same for everybody. It's not the same for the Eastern Conference teams as it is for the Western Conference teams, but that is part of it. So let me ask you, what Adam mentioned in that Florio thing was the good part about not having a bunch of Thursday games, a bunch of Monday games, is you're going to have consistent rest and a routine to your schedule. Do you think that is any kind of advantage, or is that negligible? Because you do hear teams bellyache about, well, we got 3 games in 11 days. What the heck?
I mean, yeah, being in a routine, I think every athlete loves a routine. Everybody should really love a routine in a sense. But when it comes to athletes, yeah, you like that routine of playing on, at one time each and every week. But then again, you do want to be on prime time as well. You do want the ability for your family who may live in Detroit or who may live in California somewhere, LA somewhere, or who may live in Brooklyn or Manhattan. You want them to have the ability to at least see you play once or twice a year without having to buy a package to see you.
Yeah, or go to a sports bar or something.
Yeah,
like that.
or go to a sports bar.
That is the one
we
thing.
do like that
though,
part.
It is accessible. You might have to pay a little extra, or inconvenience yourself, but you can watch the games.
Players like
easier than you used to be able.
Players like consistency. Players like routine, but players also like to be the focal point on the television too, for the nation to watch. You don't know how many times, leading up to a Monday night game, especially my first one, it was like, man, everybody get to see me. People back at home in Detroit, people everywhere, because you are the only game in town that particular night.
When you played a Sunday game, let's say it was a road game on Sunday, and then you had a Thursday night game. Was that a problem for you?
Oh, it's
with
always
recovery. Was that something you felt?
Absolutely. Players complain about it. You would hope that the league wouldn't give you a Sunday night game and then turn back around and give you a Thursday night. You hope they would give you the early game or the midday game on Sunday, and then you play the late game on Thursday, particularly like a 12 o'clock game on Sunday, and then come back and play it. But players didn't like the turnaround because I talked about this the other day. It takes, because we were talking about Travis Hunter. If I play on Sunday with a Thursday game, this is what happens. Monday is supposed to be my day off too, because it's just watching film. And we shake out, which means run a little bit or do some corrections, which is easy. So that's Monday. Tuesday is our day off. Wednesday, we ease back into it. You can't do that when you have a Sunday
game on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, so you got to ramp your body back up. Now, the coaches do a good job at trying to taper practice, but you still got to go full speed. Everything still has to be, got to get the timing right. So players do not like a Thursday night, Sunday night, Thursday night game. It's just too taxing on your body.
I don't like the Thursday games. It just flat out. I don't like it as a fan. I don't want a Thursday game as a fan. It's just one more thing. I like watching other sports. There are other sports in the universe.
No, there's not, Willie.
I don't. If you told me right now there would be no Thursday games other than Thanksgiving, I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. So I'm not one of those. Oh, I really hope the Titans get a Thursday night prime time. Forget that. I want them on Sunday.
Sunday, Thursday, Monday.
I'm looking at a lot of practical reasons here, and it starts with me. The Predators play a lot of Thursday games. Okay, I don't like when the Predators play
Okay.
and the Titans are playing the same night.
vested
Forget
interest for
that.
you. There's you have
Yes.
because you
Yes.
are calling
Back to
games.
me.
Exactly. Absolutely.
It's about
It's
my
all
needs.
about me.
It's about my needs. But I'm now D-Mace is giving us other real reasons why
Uh-huh.
this is. Look at the bright side, people. The players, the routine, full rest, and the Titans perhaps could be at their best.
One texter says the Vikings and the Falcons, and I believe the texter might mean the Dolphins and the Falcons, since that's what I was talking about. The Dolphins and the Falcons have what the Titans do not: good fantasy football / gambling players that draw eyeballs.
And that's what I said.
So the Dolphins have Tyreek Hill. I mean, I guess
Tua Tagovailoa,
Tua.
Waddle, Ramsey.
I don't know if Bijan Robinson moves the needle though, right? For the Falcons.
In fantasy, he does.
In
Yes.
fantasy, he does. Kyle
Yes.
Pitts moves the needle. In fantasy,
Drake London.
Drake London moves the
Certain
needle.
guys that are in
fantasy.
a lineup every week.
Exactly.
And, people have been known to have more than one fantasy
Now,
team.
people may be upset with Kyle Pitts because he had been giving them fantasy points, but
This is part of the reason that you watch, so you can get
Exactly.
upset.
absolutely. But they have more what you would call and we would call fantasy superstars. They're
Mhm.
superstars. Majority of them are superstars, but when it comes to fantasy, they're fantasy. So people want to watch
But
that.
how much do you think that actually factors into it? Like how many? Like
Like
do you think
players.
Do you think Mike North was sitting in this meeting and going, the Dolphins need 5 primetime games because Tyreek Hill is the first wide receiver drafted in 85% of fantasy football pools?
I'm not sure that they would necessarily phrase it that way, but when you're looking at the two rosters, again, I'm looking at Miami's roster and this offense, not defense. I'm looking at Miami's roster. I'm looking at Atlanta's roster, and then I'm looking at the Titans roster. If you had to pick 1 through 3 on which teams you would, relegate to being on national television, the Titans will always finish last. Why? Because they don't have those household names yet on offense. Atlanta does, and Miami does.
615-737-1025. We will take your thoughts on the NFL schedule. Speaking of which, the NFL, it wants that 18th game. And one reporter proposed something that I find to be interesting, and I would love to get the former players' opinion on it. It's called the 18-16 compromise. We'll explain coming up next. 615-737-1025. Tune into 94.9 The Fan tonight as the Nashville Sounds take on Memphis. Pre-game begins at 6:50 and first pitch is at 7:05. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025, 1063 the game. I suppose the Titans are the NFL's dirty little secret because they won't be scheduled on primetime.
That's not a secret anymore.
No, it's not. Thanks,
golf-
Mike North.
Golfers trying to kill people on the golf course over here. I mean, goodness gracious, what's going on in the world, man?
Yeah, a guy hit one out of the rough. This is the PGA Championships, and I did go. I actually the first big time golf I ever saw. I was in college, and I got to go to the PGA Championship. I'm not a big golf fan, but friends of mine had tickets. Oh yeah, okay, I'll go.
Mhm.
And one thing you notice is how close you are to the golfers. And when you're growing up and playing around the golfers that I was playing with,
You ain't that close.
beginners, hackers. I was never any good at golf, never spent that much time, but like you're taught when you're a kid, do not stand in front of somebody swinging the golf club. Get behind it, right? Or get covered.
Back, yeah.
But when you go to the pros, they let you stand because these guys are so good.
Mhm.
You stand right in front of them. The guy just says, everybody be quiet. Here's the rope. Here's how close you can get. People are right up in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what if this guy hits me? Well, it almost happened a second ago. Guy was hitting it out of the rough. These guys were lined up along the thing. I mean, he shanked it,
Oh,
whacked a
man.
tree. It looked like just your everyday hacker out
Two-
there.
another
Another 5
foot.
or 10 feet. Somebody was getting hit right
Keep your
in
head
the
on the
belly.
swivel, guys.
Yeah. Well, I guess so.
I went to a PGA event a long time ago when I was still living in Virginia. I think it was called Kingsmill.
I thought you about to say when I was still living. I would say,
Yes,
aren't
I
you
am still alive and well as far as I know. David Duval was one of the
I
golfers
like how you work that in there.
in this tournament, and he hit a ball that landed in somebody's backyard. You know how some golf courses have
Uh-huh.
homes that go right up to the golf course,
Right.
so he had to climb this person's fence
Oh man.
and take the shot from the backyard, and the owner of the house was watching through the sliding glass door.
I'd have let my dog. I'd have let my dog out.
Anyway, back to the NFL schedule. I found this to be interesting on The Athletic. Matt Barrows, who I believe covers the San Francisco 49ers for The Athletic, he proposed a way that the NFL can get what it wants and the players can get what they want, because the NFL wants an 18-game schedule.
Mhm.
But as Derek knows, an extra game, as he just explained, a lot of wear and tear on your body. So Matt Barrows, he proposes this idea. He calls it the 18-16 compromise. It's one that expands the schedule to 18 regular season games, but states that players can participate in no more than 16 games. It's a rare everyone wins scenario, he writes. The schedule grows by one game, which brings all the extra revenue from broadcast deals, ticket sales, parking fees, etc. the owners have been pining for. The fans get an extra week of real football. The players, meanwhile, not only won't have to suffer the wear and tear of an extra game, they'll play one fewer game than they've played the last 4 seasons. So his suggestion, if the NFL expands to 18 games, NFL players, their season is capped at 16 games.
That
Hmm.
is
Intriguing.
Dumb.
Can I give you some of the benefits he lays out?
Yeah, you can. I mean, I read them, but yeah, go ahead.
He writes, more strategy, more intrigue. If
Nope.
a player misses 2 games with, say, a thumb injury, that counts as the 2 contests he must sit out. Teams might decide to play their top line players early under the assumption that many or even most will miss games with injuries anyway. Or maybe they sit them early in the season so they know they'll be available during the critical home stretch when teams are jockeying for playoff position. He also mentions more rest, more recovery. The NFL season already goes into February, and an 18th game would make it longer. Having 2 mandated games off along with bye weeks would serve as rest stops for players. Last season, 49ers linebacker Fred Warner played most of the season with an ankle fracture that was slow to heal because he played on it every week. Warner, who seemed like a defensive player of the year candidate before the injury, was not as good after it. A multi-week hiatus might have given him the time he needed to recover.
You know, one of those back when you were younger. I don't know if you had this, Adam, because you are a little bit younger than Willie and I. But Willie, remember that little black ball they used to have? You have to shake it
Yeah,
up,
the 8 ball.
and then you get, you know,
Yeah,
that little
in like the little
sand.
blue water.
Yeah,
and
it gets
yeah.
sand and all that, and then you shake it up again until you
Yeah.
get exactly what you want.
Outlook
you know.
not so good.
Exactly. So
Yes.
I think that's what he did. I really do. I think he shook something up and said, "Okay, let me see if this will work." Because listen, no way, no how. 16, 18. I know everyone want to come up with a clever way to try to make an 18th game or 18-week season happen. But if it does happen, it's not going to be it's not going to be like that. Because the main reason is this. I pay X amount of dollars every week. The same thing basketball is going through right now. I pay X amount of dollars every week, and I don't care if it was already in the bylaws and y'all collective bargained it, but I pay X amount of dollars every week. I want my quarterback to play every week if he's healthy. I want my quarterback to play. Everybody else, I don't care about everybody else right now. But right now, I want Patrick Mahomes to play every week. I want Joe Burrow to play every week. I want Jackson to play every week, Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud. I want those guys to play every week. I don't want to go out there during the week and say, oh, my quarterback's not out there.
How
The
about
league
this?
doesn't want that.
Well, Matt Barrows knew you were going to say that, Derek Mason. So he wrote this. So perhaps an exception is made for the faces of the NFL, the quarterbacks. After all, the 18-16 proposal is about player safety, and there are already all sorts of rules to protect quarterbacks.
But then that don't make it's not realistic, because the minute, like I said, everybody wants to see their quarterback play. But then it's like those other players are like, no, it's like everybody should be on the same plane. The quarterback shouldn't have to play 18 games and we only play 16. I want to see the other players. Yes, I want my quarterback out there every week, but I want to see other players out there every week too. There's no reason why I, as a consumer, am paying for. Y'all not giving me half off on the tickets. You're not giving me half off when they don't play on the television money that I got to pay to watch. Are y'all? No. So if you want to go to 18 weeks, 18 games, they need to play all 18. And I'm telling you right now, players are not going to do that. At least that's my understanding. It was my understanding when I played, because they talked about ramping it up to more games then. Players didn't want to play that many games because it's taxing on your body. I don't think it's going to go no further than what it is now. An 18th game, that's a little bit too much. We're trying to get games taken away.
Willie,
not
what are your
added.
thoughts on the 18-16 compromise?
Do we agree that they're going to go to 18?
Eventually, it's going to happen.
And I'm with D-Mace. I'm not a fan of that. I think 16 was the right amount. I would have stayed with 16. It's all greed, all of that, because I do think attrition is a big thing, and they have not really accommodated. If you're going to play the extra games, you probably should have extra roster spots. But I think it would have been preposterous to bring this up until the NBA started this load management thing. I think this would be the NFL's version of load management. But I think football players, like hockey players, are wired. A healthy player will not want to sit out. A healthy football player will not. He will refuse to sit out if he's healthy.
But then what happens to, like, in playoff scenario?
Like, you should
where
reward
you're telling
teams that are
me
able to stay healthy or lucky enough to stay healthy.
What if we're tied, and then you're telling me I gotta, like,
The
those two guys
you've
can't
already
play?
played your 16.
Exactly.
So the two biggest games in the year, games 17 and 18, for those that maybe rolled the dice and said, well, along the line, Derek's going to get hurt probably, and let's just keep playing him because we need to win right now, or else we're not going to be in the race. But you stay healthy, and then after 16 games, you can't play in the two biggest games.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
That's just not going to fly.
I do kind of like devil's
I like
advocate.
I like the creativity,
Right.
the thought of it, but it's
shaking
not
up the
practical.
ball.
The
It's
devil
not
to play
practical.
devil's advocate. I do like the strategic element of it. As Matt Barrow writes, that teams might decide to play their top line players early under the assumption that many or even most will miss games with injuries anyway, or maybe they sit them early in the season so they know they'll be available during the critical home stretch when teams are jockeying for playoff position.
Fans don't like when basketball players do it. And they've gotten it written in that they can, you can miss so many games and still be eligible for certain things. They don't like that. What makes NFL fans are 20 times as crazed as basketball fans. You think they're going to go for this? Like, I can't see.
And there's way less
no,
games.
Exactly, and I can't see the NFL like the diehard NFL fan that is watching this saying, "Okay, I'm cool with my superstar quarterback or my superstar wide receiver or my superstar defensive end having to, not voluntarily, but having to mandate it to miss 2 games."
615-737-1025. Your thoughts on the quote-unquote 18-16 compromise proposed by Matt Barrows of The Athletic. His idea, if the NFL moves to 18 games, players are limited to 16 games. 615-737-1025. We will get your reaction on the other side. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. D. Mace Fingan and Donick 1025, 1063 The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Ask D. Mace coming up at 12:30. So if you have questions for Derek, you can get them in on our text line now at 615-737-1025. You can also call us closer to 12:30 for Ask D. Mace. So we have a lot of reaction to this story that I shared from The Athletic by Matt Barrows, the 18-16 compromise, he calls it. In his proposal, the NFL does indeed expand to 18 regular season games, but players can only participate in up to 16 games. Derek thinks it's very stupid. Let's get to some of your texts at 615-737-1025. Josh says, man, that's like me asking my job for a 20-40 compromise. Let me work 20 hours but get paid for 40. You think they're going to let me do that? Yeah, right. If they're healthy and able to play and getting paid and fans are spending X amount of money on tickets, then they better be out on that field. I'm not spending money on the only ticket I can afford to buy for the season to watch Will Levis play when I purchase the ticket to watch Cam Ward. Now, Matt Barrows does have a little bit of a carve-out in his compromise to allow quarterbacks to play all 18 games because there are already a lot of rules in the NFL protecting quarterbacks. One texter says, that's the dumbest bleep I've ever heard. Teams don't have the depth, and I'm not paying to watch a preseason game in December. Joey in Bellevue says, I don't understand how that works. Tape game changers out of the lineup for 2 games. At that point, you're hurting the team. Again, playing devil's advocate, there is a strategic element to it. So maybe you take your number 1 wide receiver out in weeks 2 and 4 so that he can be available for week 17 and 18 and I guess 19.
But then another guy has to come out too.
Yes.
So essentially, here's why it's hard because, and I'm going to refrain from calling it dumb. I do take that back. You know, he's just throwing out ideas. I get it. Albeit this is not one of the best ones. You're saying guys have to make. Now, are you limiting just to the starters? Because you're just saying guys have to miss 2 games. Are you saying just the quarterback? But then you say, well, to remedy that, we could say the quarterback plays all 18.
Right. So he says perhaps an exception can be made for the faces of the NFL, the quarterbacks. After all, the 18-16 proposal is about player safety, and there are already all sorts of rules to protect quarterbacks. And maybe we grant an exception for the specialists as well. They don't suffer the cumulative pounding other players do. 4 of the 5 oldest players currently on NFL rosters are specialists, and owners definitely wouldn't want to keep multiple long snappers and punters on the payroll.
Again, if you're saying 18-16, 18 games, 16 weeks, you can only play. And the sort of caveat is quarterbacks, you play all games. Okay, if that's the case, then the other 10 players, all of them have to miss a mandatory 2 games. How are you going to work? That's too much stuff to be trying to work out as an organization while you're trying to win football games. Oh, okay. I got to Derek and Kevin and Dyson got to miss this week. Okay. Bullock and Blaine got to miss this week. B-Hop and this guy got to miss. It's just too much.
Too many practical
exactly.
problems.
It's just
with the
too much. That's why I said it's just it's not a good fix. It's a wild idea, yes, but it's not a good fix.
2 other things that Matt Barrows points out, Willie. More opportunities. The compromise would guarantee that younger or lesser known players get to start at least 2 games. Maybe that means expanding practice squads from 16 players. It's another win for the players union. Also, fewer asterisks. Limiting players to 16 games will get individual records back to where they were from 1978 to 2020. Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record, Calvin Johnson's single-season receiving performance, and LaDainian Tomlinson's single-season touchdown mark wouldn't be compromised by someone playing 2 more games than them.
Doesn't work. If you did this, also think about the importance of the backup quarterback and how few quality backup quarterbacks you would have. It would then become the equivalent of the backup goalie in hockey, where you have to have one. Like
Mhm.
how those 2 games could be enormous if the backup quarterback had to start 2, in addition to whatever other time your backup gets called upon. It's not going to work.
This is again, this is one of those situations where you're trying to think of the most like outside of the box thing you can do to try to make it work. When in actuality, it may just be as simple as play the 18 games. Either you collectively bargain it or you don't. One of the because the NFL cannot add another game, people, unless they collectively bargain it. Okay? So the easiest way, and I heard I was listening to Rex and PK, and they were talking about Occam's theory. The easiest path sometimes is the best path.
Yes.
The easiest way to get to 18 games in this sense is collectively bargain it.
So
And that may not happen
So let's say the NFL ultimately goes to 18 games. And the
after
player-
collectively bargaining it.
Yes, but the players' union agrees to expand the schedule by one more game. What protections could they put in place for player safety? Do you add an extra week so that each team has 2 bye weeks?
That's the only thing
There's
you
no
can
such
do.
thing as player safety.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
really
such thing
not.
as player safety.
It's not, because once you're out there, you may be safe that week that you don't play. You ain't even really safe that week because you got to practice unless they just cancel practice from injury. I'm saying, people, but there's no way to eliminate yourself from like, oh, okay, if we have 2 bye weeks, then you're going to be healthier. No, because the minute I step out there, I can get hurt again.
If they cared about player safety, they would keep the schedule at 16.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Or really go back to 14. If you really wanted to be safer.
They've already opened Pandora's box.
Yeah,
They're not
so
taking
16.
games away.
But 18 games, no matter how you try to.
But I love how they're like, let's get more. Hey, why don't we go to 20? Oh, but we have to be. Let's put in some more safety measures.
There's no more safety.
It doesn't
measures.
work.
Yeah,
You're punting on player safety by going to 18 in the first place. So don't even give me all this stuff about we're going to put in these measures to keep the player safe.
No. The more you play, the more you're susceptible to get hurt. I don't care if they gave you a bye week every week after every game and gave you a bye week the next following week. The minute you step out there on the field is the minute you can get hurt. So this, player safety and get them an extra. No, it doesn't matter with an extra bye week. It really doesn't, because the minute you step back out there on the field, you're susceptible to get hurt. So again, the only way this thing works is if they collectively bargain it. And I am hard pressed to think that the players, now I could be wrong, because the same guys that chose to jump into the last one or some years ago when I was still there and didn't ask for more when they should have an opportunity when it comes to medical situations. If you wanted to help us out, you would give us more medical after we retire. That's helping us out. That's trying to keep us healthy. But they're not going to do that. They are players. I can't see them collectively bargaining an extra game. That is a game. That means so much on your body. And to me, the seasons get longer. And to try to add in some, okay, we need to do this, or you don't play these 2 games, it's just too much. Either you collectively bargain it, which I don't think they will, or you don't. You just keep it the way it is. But to try to get 18 games and try to find a way, you don't have to play this, it's just too much. At least I believe that.
Well, how did you feel when the NFL announced that it was going from 16 to 17 games? Were you surprised by that back then?
No, I wasn't surprised. But there were a lot of guys that were opposed to it. But obviously it was collectively bargained, and they pushed it through, and they got to 17 games. Now, I don't know in regards to injuries, have there been more injuries because of the 17 games or not? But I tell you one thing, players already think the season's too long and too taxing on their body. Why do you think guys don't rush to get back anymore?
Ryan Kelly, Indianapolis Colts center, although I'm not sure if Ryan Kelly is still on the team. The story was from last June. on ESPN. He said, quote, 18 games sounds great when Roger Goodell's on the Pat McAfee show. Until you're the one that's going out there and putting the helmet on for 18 of those games, then come talk to me.
Yeah, because I mean, Goodell, he don't have to do anything. He just travel on a plane. The owners don't do anything, you know. It's the coaches and the players, the hours, the time, the physicality after all those weeks. And we're not just talking 18 weeks here. We are talking prior to the season started, after the season's done, and you're playing more football if you're that good and you get yourself in the playoffs. So it's not just 18 weeks. It's more than that. But they're not packaging all of that together, because they know if they package it all together, it would look as if you don't give a damn about your players and their health.
On ESPN, this story written by Brooke Pryor last summer, she said the idea of an 18-game schedule and the division around it is hardly new. League owners first formally proposed an enhanced schedule in 2010, offering to eliminate 2 preseason games in exchange for the addition of 2 regular season games. In response, the NFLPA's good faith counterproposal asked for a reduced voluntary workout period, 2 bye weeks, and a specific number of helmetless and padless practices during training camp. At the time, some of the league's most prominent figures spoke out against it. Ray Lewis said, "Don't get me wrong, I love the game of football. If fans want to show their love, they should let everyone know that we are not machines. I've been blessed to play this game for so long, but it's time to start thinking about what legacy and impact changes like this will leave for the players of tomorrow and us after we retire."
And he's absolutely right. Like, listen, and during 2010, I was myself and there was another guy, Tony Pechos. There was one more guy. We were in that room we were fighting for specific things, more or less more health issue stuff, like insurance after you finish playing, stuff like that. We wanted more. But the majority was like, no, we want to get paid. Let's go play. And it was like, dude, we're not getting paid anyway right now. So what do you mean you need to get money? You're not taking care of your money the way you need to. And a lot of guys wasn't, and you saw it during that time, because guys didn't want to say, you know what, we're standing up for this, and if we miss games, so be it. Guys were ready to get back, even though we wasn't even playing games. Guys were complaining, I want to get paid. So it is what it is. But even with that, I want players to understand this. When you start giving away and saying we want helmetless practices, or we want less days in the building, you know what the owners are saying? And you don't want to get tested for marijuana. You know what their owners are saying? We didn't want y'all to do it anyway, but if y'all gonna give us some for here, we don't care.
It doesn't cost them anything. Yeah.
Exactly. That little stuff right there, like,
they're happy to give you those, throw you those
that
little
don't
bones.
mean
Yeah.
nothing to them. But you know what they get back in return?
The extra game.
Exactly.
That's
and
money
y'all
for
like,
them.
oh, we're not gonna like, dude, just listen to big picture. That don't mean nothing, because if you have a good head coach, he'll know I can't run my players like this. We gotta play the season. I gotta shut some of our players down. Good coaches do that. Fisher did that when I played for him. Harbaugh did that when I played for him. So those are good coaches that understands their team. You didn't need to give that up in order to get something else. Like, dude, helmets, okay, y'all ain't gotta wear helmets. Oh, y'all don't want to be in practice or the facility that many times during the offseason? Oh, y'all can have that. Oh, you don't want to be tested for marijuana? Oh, y'all can have that too. Give us that 18 game. Give us this. It's like y'all giving away meaningless stuff and giving up stuff that is big. It's like, man, I don't understand.
That's how it's worked.
But they make it seem like, oh, we're getting this. Guys, we're getting this. No, that don't mean nothing in the big scheme of things.
One texter says, the NFL is a money-making machine. They don't care about anything except for money. If people will watch 18 games, they will do everything in their power to get it to 18 games. It's that simple. As long as people watch, they won't change their values.
And I get it. Listen, if I own, an NFL team, I would be looking at ways to try to, generate more money. But also, because I'm putting myself in a scenario as a former player too, I would also understand that, man, if we go out there and we put these guys, we may just be diminishing our product, because we may not have those guys. One, we may not have them because we have agreed to not play them 2 games, but what if they get injured? Now we may not have them even longer than that. They got to miss the mandatory 2 games and they hurt. Like seriously, man, you're adding too many problems when you try to go down this route. That's just me.
One texter on the 1816 compromise says, it's like when I coached Pop Warner. You have to worry about this player getting playing time, that player getting playing time, pulling this player out, putting that player in, etc. This is the pros. They shouldn't have to worry about pee-wee issues.
And coaches don't want to have to worry about another thing. They got so many other things that you're trying to game plan for and make sure this is happening, all while making sure your players are taken care of, their families are taken care of, all that stuff. And then you give me an extra, y'all have to find out how and which players y'all are going to take out each and every week, because it's going to have to be either each and every week 2 guys are not playing, or at the end of the season your whole roster, I mean your starting 11 on offense and starting 11 on defense, ain't playing for 2 weeks.
That's again the strategic element of it.
But ain't nobody coming to watch. You won't have nobody in the stands.
I wonder if it would be like, Willie, I think there are rules in preseason games across all leagues, right? That a certain number of veteran players have to suit up.
In the NHL, yeah.
I believe it's in Major League Baseball too. No?
Oh, in spring training games?
Spring training games, right? Maybe the NFL has to guarantee that a certain number of players have to be in there.
I think you're just adding more wrinkles.
Mhm.
That's fair.
In the regular season, nobody wants to hear or deal with those kind of things.
Exactly.
I don't think. And the players themselves won't want to do that.
What if I got incentives in my contract that says if I reach X amount of yardage, there's 18 weeks, but you're only telling me I get to play 16 of them. What if I'm 20 yards off and I can't play 2 games? Now you're messing with my money.
That's a fair.
You can't mess with my money.
That's fair.
Again, it's like, man, I understand we're trying to, they're coming up with these sort of wild scenarios to try to fit this 18 games into the NFL schedule. But it's not just as easy as saying what this individual is saying from the Athletic. We can do this, we can do that. Yeah, in theory, okay, sounds perfect. But it doesn't work that way. And players, at least I believe, players will continue to fight against something like that. But then the networks are going to say, well, we gave y'all money because you can't do this until, unless you do some provisions, but you can't do it until the next collective bargaining agreement comes up.
I'm sure Fox or NBC or ESPN wouldn't be thrilled if they had the Chiefs on prime time and it happened to be the game, I guess, if the quarterbacks aren't exempt. That Patrick Mahomes has to sit out, so you're getting Gardner Minshew on Monday Night Football.
Exactly.
I'm sure they would have loved that.
Or even Saquon Barkley.
Just think how complicated all of this combined would be. It's just too complicated.
It's too much, man. To try, either you're going to say you're playing 18 games or you're not. There's no provisions in here, or we're taking this guy out. That's too much of a headache. The fans are not going to let it happen, and the networks are not going to let it happen.
Wes and Hermitage on our schedule talk from earlier on our text line says, what are the chances that they, meaning the NFL or Mike North, left the Titans out of the primetime games with the mindset that Ward may not start this season? If our GM follows the way of the Chiefs and sits him for a year, then I would agree we shouldn't have any primetime games. Just a thought.
Well, he ain't sitting unless he's just hot garbage, but he ain't sitting. And I that's not, the league told you why they didn't give him a primetime game. So there you go. They ain't good enough.
You can't draft your way into primetime.
Exactly. You ain't good enough. Titans, Cam Ward, you ain't good enough yet.
Oh, man.
So there you go. But again, man, I just think, from a player's point of view, former player's point of view, that, adding more games, it just puts that extra taxing on your body that you just don't need and really for what? Like, I know the fans, if you said 18 games and everybody had to play, the fans are with it because they're like, listen, more football games, the better. I love it. Football is religion around here. But if you ask the players, like, nah, 18 games, nah, man, that may be a tad bit too much. And plus, you're talking about preseason games and playoff games potentially. Nah.
Well, that's why we have the UFL, right? So we can watch football right now.
Exactly.
No
You're right.
disrespect to the UFL.
Hey, UFL, man, they had somebody slapping somebody in the stands. I mean,
I missed
come on.
this.
Yeah. You missed that?
I missed
I
that.
missed
Yes.
this. I
Oh
missed
my
this.
goodness. There was a guy. I
Not a
forgot-
player.
I think
It was
from,
an actual player,
yeah,
yes.
from St. Louis, right?
Yeah,
The
he ended up
Battlehawks?
getting suspended. Did he get suspended?
It was
slapped a
Nakua's
fan?
brother. It was Nakua's brother. No, I don't think he tried to. I think he.
So they were
He
talking,
said,
they were
yeah.
going back and forth, and he did hit the guy.
Yeah,
he hit the
yeah.
guy. And I think they suspended him for a game or because the fan, it was just this interaction. The fan was getting, I guess, unruly or whatnot.
Well, didn't the UFL merge with the XFL?
Yes.
That makes sense then. That players
Makes a
are,
ton of sense.
are
Yeah, so he slapped the guy in the stands. I'm like, man. He was leaning over the thing, the guy slapped him, caught it on camera.
man. The original XFL.
And he got,
that was
he
something
got suspended.
special. That was
Yeah.
something special.
So unless you want to just start doing that,
Well,
slapping people in the stands. I mean, we come close to it a few times.
you came close to
I'm
slapping
just
a fan.
saying people.
Oh, okay.
I've come close to slapping a fan in my mind.
That sounds like a good question for Ask D-Base, which is coming up
in my
next.
mind, I came close to slapping somebody in the stand.
At 615-737-1025. If you have a question for Derek Mason, maybe about wanting to slap fans in his mind, you can let us know. 615-737-1025. Ask D-Mace. Coming up next, Willie Dunnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025-1063. The Game.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Garrett Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now, D-Mace. On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's time to ask D-Mace on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. The suit Chase McCabe just walked in to deliver the news that the Vanderbilt
he
baseball.
came in like Kramer comes
Yes.
into Seinfeld's apartment. The door comes flying open. You know, his feet are sliding in as he's coming in.
So Vanderbilt is moving up an hour. So first pitch will be at 5.
5 o'clock, and there is some rain, I think, that's supposed to hit later tonight. So I think they're trying to get the game in, ideally. And if not, they can finish tonight's game and play tomorrow's finale. This is the last weekend of SEC play for the regular season. The SEC tournament starts next week. And Vanderbilt is inching forward to a national seed. I think they're almost there. One more win, I think, would cinch it. Even if they didn't win another game in the SEC tournament, I think they've earned that. Their strength of schedule, their amount of quad one games, basically, is off the charts, and they keep winning. So if you're going to that game tonight, they had a great crowd last night. A lot of Kentucky fans came down. I think the Vanderbilt fans are re-energized. I think there was a lot of skepticism early in the season. Oh, is this team going to get back to national contention? There's something about this team. They got momentum. They are must-watch right now. They have been playing really well, so you got to get there a little bit earlier today.
Yes, the game has been moved up by 1 hour. So first pitch is now scheduled for 5 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock. Vanderbilt against Kentucky.
Braden Holcomb last night hit his second 2-out, 2-strike walk-off home run with his team behind in the bottom of the ninth. That's a career. I don't know how many people can say, like in the major league level or any level, if they've done that twice in one season. That's amazing.
So, by the way, it was indeed Puka Nakua's brother, Samson Nakua, who was suspended 1 game by the UFL for slapping a fan
Slapping a fan
during an altercation.
So it was not a Jamie Benn sucker punch,
No.
which happened last night.
$5,000 fine.
So
for Jamie Benn.
when he slapped a fan, I'm assuming this is an open hand slap.
Yeah, absolutely.
All it says
Which
in the
is not, I
story,
guess, as bad as a sucker punch with your hockey glove on.
video of the confrontation showed Nakua.
But yeah, he got suspended, and Jamie Benn only got fined $5,000.
Video of the confrontation showed Nakua exchanging words with a fan who was leaning over the railing in the dome at America Center, which I believe is the old. That's where the Rams played, right? Nakua lunged toward the fan and appeared to slap his face. Receiver Adonis Alexander was
Appeared
standing
to.
nearby.
You're saying the guy faked it, like the movies?
There's a stunt.
Appeared. Speaking of Kramer, because you made the reference to
Yeah.
Kramer, I'm thinking of Kramer throwing his head back when the alleged spit incident happened.
That's my Mets there. Roger McDowell was the second spitter.
That is one magic loogie.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So he got suspended for 1 game.
All right, let's start. Why don't we ask D-Mace? Let's just get this right.
Okay.
Did you ever get into any kind of verbal confrontation with a fan, or at least be tempted? Were you getting heckled to the point where, like, all right, I want to turn around and get this guy?
we are. I mean, when you're away, you always get heckled. And I love the heckling.
Yeah. Now,
but
did
there
you
was
bark
some-
back? Did you have a fun interaction with it, or did you just
every once in a
block it
while?
out?
Every once in a while, I love doing that when I was in Cleveland. I love going back and
So
forth.
the
with
dog
Cleveland
pound
fans.
loved
the
they
dog
loved
pound. Oh
it.
man,
Yeah.
they loved it, and I loved it too. Especially because we used to beat them all the time. But yeah, there's been a few times I'm sure, like when you see a fan that talking, it's like, man, it's just, I just want to slap you. Just like, hush up, man, sit down. Yeah, every once in a while that does happen, but for the most part, I try to refrain from, getting that worked up when it comes to the fans.
Willie, did you have any hecklers during your Medicine Hat days?
Oh yeah, not at Medicine Hat. Oh, but the minor leagues is ripe for
Donick.
hecklers who
Donick.
come out of the woodwork. But this was the best hecklers I ever had was in the old Barnhill Arena in Fayetteville. This was before they built this huge arena, state-of-the-art place. They had an old place that was unlike any other place. And this is when Todd Day and Lee Mayberry and Oliver Miller,
Yes.
they had some great teams. And then a year or two later, Corliss Williamson and Scotty Thurman.
Scotty Thurman, yeah.
They had some great. Nolan Richardson, 40 Minutes of Hell. It was a tremendous venue. The fans, because it was a smaller place, kind of like Cameron Indoor, where there was limited space. So they let the fans, the students in super early. So the first come, first serve, you got to get the good seats. So you got to get there early. So what do you do for all that time? Well,
Heckle
here's
the
what you
team.
do.
Yeah.
You bring the media guide of the other team. The Vanderbilt Commodores in town. Open up the media guide, start reading people's bios. Here come the Commodores starting to warm up. This is before they let the band start playing the official warm. This is the warm up before the warm up, right? Just go shoot around a little bit, get the lay of the land. Every single player is getting it. Hey, Donick, see you won the best team attitude last year.
You need to get heckled
Way
for
to
some of
go,
that.
Willie. Best team attitude. Oh, what a great guy. I mean, these guys were awesome.
I would have heckled you over that too.
Oh, they voted by his teammates. Oh,
Vanderbilt is wrong for putting that in there.
How did they put that in there? I mean, come on.
oh man.
Vanderbilt's wrong for putting that
Oh,
in
man.
there.
I mean, they were merciless.
To
It
be
was
fair,
great.
you do have a great attitude.
Yes, you do, but
And
man,
we were laughing, trying not to laugh while we were shooting, getting ready to have to play Arkansas. I mean, that's one of the best teams in the country.
oh my goodness.
So
yeah.
that was good. But the hecklers are always out there.
Yeah.
Minor league baseball is the best. But that football is probably hard to get close enough unless they're trying to get on you.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in, like, is it the Packers fans that like moon? Is that, remember Randy Moss got in big trouble
Yeah.
because he faked mooning the
Moon.
Packer fans? But the backstory of that was the Packer fans actually moon the opposing team when they
Coming
come
in.
in, right?
Yeah. And
And so Moss
and
was trying to
Oakland.
get him back, but nobody knew that. And Joe Buck went crazy. He's like, oh, what a disgusting gesture. And I think people were like, well, that's in response to what
they
the
did.
Packers
yeah.
fans. Yeah.
It's like seriously.
And Randy Moss got fined 10 grand.
Along similar lines, Josh says, which DB talked the most smack and drove you nuts to where you wanted him to cover you every time you played each other so you could moss him?
Oh man, there wasn't anybody that let me see. Man, I'm trying to think of a guy that talked all the time. Gosh, Miami's defensive back. Yeah, Patrick Surtain and what was the other guy's name from Louisville? He was out of Louisville, and he's done shows with us. He's come on our show a few times because he does radio down in Miami. Why am I forgetting his name now? He played for the Dolphins, defensive back. I can't remember his name now. I will. But that secondary, Miami secondary, they talk so much trash, man. It was pathetic.
Not
They
Sam
just-
Madison.
Yeah, Sam Madison.
Okay, yeah.
Sam talked so much trash, but Sam talked trash, and it was funny, you know. But I enjoyed going up against him because he always kept it engaging. Like you never had a chance to just sit and relax because he was always engaging. That secondary talked like crazy. The secondary, in Pittsburgh, they would run their mouth. When I played here in Baltimore, they would run their mouth. Chris McAllister and those guys would run their mouth. So, but there was not one outside of Sam Madison that was worse than the other.
615-737-1025. We have more questions for D-Mace. You can get them in on our phone and text lines driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com at 615-737-1025. Nashville's best deal of the week is Bavarian Beer House, conveniently located at Opry Mills Mall. Enjoy beer, food, music, and fun at Nashville's only authentic German beer hall, where it's Oktoberfest every day. Head to thegamenashville.com/deals now to get a $50 gift card for only $25 to Bavarian Beer House while supplies last. Check your
Happy Friday, everyone. This is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you've set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a resolution or some type of goal to shed some extra pounds, only to come up short of it or disappointment. Excuse me. But I got some solutions here, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a new approach or a different approach to weight loss. A comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
D-Mace, Finken, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Continuing Ask D-Mace. Call us, text us, 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Joey from Bellevue, who weekly, he puts the 102.5 The Game family in these certain contests, and he always wants Derek's opinion on them. So here is Joey's selection for this week. D-Mace, if 102.5 The Game had a 10-minute hot dog eating contest from first to last, who would win? Who would finish last? I don't know if Joe Rexrode would participate because of his gout flare-up.
Yeah. Ooh, hot dog eating contest. I got to know how many of y'all like hot dogs. I'm not a hot dog fan.
I like a hot dog.
Oh man.
I like hot dogs.
Okay. After about 3 or 4, Willie would get sick. Stomach would start aching. He's a little older. Yeah, stomach would start aching. Or he would remember, man, at about 12 o'clock, I'm going to feel it, so let me stop. So that's
I
4
think
hot
if the
dogs in.
competition were on the line, though, I think I would.
you'll push
step
it
up.
through?
I think I would step up. Yeah.
Oh,
I think I
wow.
can do it. I think I can.
I'm
When the
remi-
competition's on the line,
Wow,
Willie's in his
we
prime.
need to get you ready to get rushed to
Now-
to one of those clinics.
Yeah,
right, at 12
maybe.
o'clock at night. Yeah.
I watched a little bit of the technique. You know, when you dunk the buns in the water. I don't know if I would do that,
Mhm.
but like I feel like at one sitting, I could down a decent amount of hot dogs.
You know who I'm taking? I'm taking Frazier. Once again, I'm taking Frazier.
Yeah, I think
I'm
I
taking
got
Nick
faith in
Frazier.
Frazier's probably the number
Yeah.
1 draft pick.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people would select Big Joe because he is Big Joe. But it reminded me of when William the Refrigerator Perry participated in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in 2003. Here's an article from ESPN. Although he weighs at least 200 pounds more than 132-pound phenom Takiro Kobayashi, Perry was no match for the world record holder, who finished with a winning total of 44.5 hot dogs eaten in 12 minutes. Perry ate only 4 hot dogs and buns and stopped halfway through the contest.
See, I mean, listen, 4 hot dogs, man.
In a
That's
hot dog eating contest, size does not matter.
man, Willie. So yeah, I think Willie. Even
How
though
many
you would try
dogs
to
do you think
push
amongst
through.
our group?
Yeah.
How many hot dogs do you think you need to eat to be one of the better players?
Like
in our group,
among the four
And
of
how many
us?
minutes is it?
6.
How many minutes do we have?
I think
10.
about 6 or 7.
10 minutes.
We have 10 minutes.
I think about
yeah,
7.
If you get
6.
6 or 7, that's respectable.
That you should be hands down the winner.
Can anybody get more than 6 or 7 down in 10 minutes
don't know if
amongst
I
our
could.
group? We're
I don't
not
know if I could.
professionals.
Yeah. After 2 or 3, I'm not eating it for 1.
Man.
But if it was, I guess, but they make the what you call it?
You can get the impossible
yeah,
dog.
Impossible
you know,
dog,
the-
The veggies.
Yeah, vegetable one.
This reminds me of one of the
vegetable
Vegan?
one.
You mean
Yeah,
vegan?
the vegan.
Vegan yeah, whatever.
This reminds me of one of my funniest stories from the time I was covering the Predators and going to every road game. The Predators were in San Jose, and I was meeting a friend who lives there for dinner. And as I was waiting for this friend, I was walking past a restaurant, and sitting outside at the restaurant was Joey Chestnut,
Oh,
the greatest hot dog eater there ever was.
was he eating a hot dog?
He wasn't. He was using a knife and a fork, which was an incredibly jarring experience for me. He was having a normal sized meal with his partner at the time, using a knife and a fork. And I was like, this is very strange.
Wow. Did you say something to him?
I did not.
Oh,
You don't
okay.
interrupt the hot dog eating champion of the world when he's out in his own life.
But he's not eating a hot dog.
But he doesn't only eat hot dogs.
But I'm saying if he was eating a hot dog, then you don't bother him because he would be doing his job. Right now, you can say, hey, Joey,
I did not say hello.
Mr. Chestnut?
Mr. Chestnut, how you doing?
Will you sign my hot dog bun, Mr. Chestnut?
But yeah, I think the max would be 6 or 7. I think if you eat 6 or 7 in this building, you're good. You should be the champion. But I'm going with Frazier.
Frazier wins a lot of these contests.
Yeah,
I
because
feel like.
Frazier, man, I've been around
He's the
Frazier
ultimate
enough.
utility man.
exactly,
He's
exactly,
industrious. That's the
exactly,
word I
very.
use to describe
He
Nick
is.
Frazier.
He has become the most interesting man in his building. He has. I'm just
That
telling
is-
the
that's
truth.
the truth.
Yeah, I'm just telling the truth.
The most interesting thing about him is that he has a pet hog, which he has named, and he can't wait to eat it. And I told him, why would you name it? Why would you want to give it why did develop a connection
Yeah.
with
Oh,
this
man.
beast that you're about to eat? I didn't understand, but that's
Yeah.
Frazier for you. Wes in Clarksville says, Derek, did you ever get any crazy gifts or fan mail from fans when you played? So if so, tell us about crazy ones or good ones.
No, I didn't. A lot of the mail you would get, people would make like mini statues, or they'd do these hieroglyphic things, or etch out glass and ask you to sign it, which I've always found very weird, because it's like, okay, it's weird for me in a sense. Like, why are you sending me this this sculpture thing and want me to, and do you expect me to send it back to you and pay to get it sent? No. Unfortunately, sometimes it just sits there. But a lot of stuff, it's typically just cards and letters and stuff like that. So I haven't gotten any, crazy gifts, at least that I remember.
Chase in White Bluff says, Derek, I've been looking at some of your rookie cards. When Topps would send you those stickers to sign for your cards, how many would they send and how many would you sign in one sitting?
Oh man, sometimes it'd be 7,500, sometimes it'd be 10,000. You just never know. And listen, you're getting paid for all of it, but still they give you some weeks to finish it all up. If it's like 10,000, 50, they give you a month or so to finish it all up. And what I used to do is just late at night, just sign about, 2 or 3 sheets of them each day and kind of get an award from there. Like that anyway.
Let's go to Nate on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Nate, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hey, y'all joke about Joey Chestnut signing a hot dog bun, but in the aspect of a Nashville SC player signing a Rowdy's actual hot dog, I don't know if y'all saw that on Twitter recently.
I didn't.
What is Derek? What
Yes.
is the most obscure thing you have signed as an NFL player?
Oh,
Thank you for the
man.
call, Nate.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I've signed babies' Pampers or diapers that they had on. I mean,
Hope it was a clean diaper.
yeah, I hope so too. I didn't check. I didn't check at all. And I wonder what did they do with that diaper after I signed it. Oh well, it's signed. Diapers, arms. I guess body parts in general. It's like, why am I signing your hand or your arm or your forehead? It's like, you gonna wash it off. I never understood that.
Well, it is one thing that certain fans do is they will have their favorite athlete, performer, personality sign their autograph on their body, and then they will get it tattooed.
Yeah, that could be. I never thought about it that way. But still, that's kind of weird too, wouldn't you think, Willie?
I'd say that's a pretty hardcore fan.
Yeah, that is a hardcore fan. Just like the hardcore fans that get their teams tatted on their backs. I've seen that too.
Ugh.
Yeah. I saw one video where he had to get it removed and it wasn't good.
Did you see Anthony Richardson's back tattoo? Robbie and
did.
Joe were talking about this.
Didn't he have to get put under?
Apparently he was sedated.
Yeah.
It took 7 hours
Why?
because
No, I'm not saying why to you. It's like a rhetorical question. Like, why? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to get put under just to get
Goodness.
a tattoo that big? And I don't understand that.
I didn't know you could be sedated to get a tattoo.
I didn't either. I tell you, the last time I got a tattoo, which was in 1999. That was my last tattoo. Yeah. So I don't know why he chose to get that huge mural put on his back.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I can't.
He's young. He's young. Blame it on youth. That's what I blame it on.
Andrew from Dover says, Derek, you can pick only one player per major sport.
Mhm.
Name one active player from each sport that is a sure thing first ballot Hall of Famer.
Current player.
Current player, basketball, obviously, LeBron.
Yes.
I'm surefire. Baseball, Shohei Ohtani, once he retired. Wouldn't you say would be Mookie Betts?
You think
I
Mookie
think
Betts is a Hall of
Betts,
Fame
yeah.
player?
I think so. Yeah.
Mike Trout.
Trout?
Too
Yeah.
injured, unfortunately.
You don't think?
Yeah. Trout. Well, I think he still will be. First ballot is always a little tricky because I think some of it, especially in baseball, is who's in there,
Mhm.
who comes eligible at the same time.
But do you think Shohei will be first ballot?
I think so. He's done things that have never been done before.
Mhm.
And there's always what if he got hurt tomorrow and couldn't
Yeah.
play? If
But he's still done
he's
so
doing
much.
some amazing things. He is certainly he's not old, right?
Mhm, yeah.
Otani, in theory, will be doing this for a while,
Mhm.
and if he continues on this track, it's a no
It's a
brainer.
no-brainer. So
Mookie
Ohtani-
is probably just at the edge of his prime and
Mhm.
probably gonna take it down a notch.
but
Mookie's
he will be
34.
a Hall of Famer, but not first ballot. Excuse me.
I think
he is a Hall of Famer.
I think Mookie Betts is on his way to being a Hall of Famer, especially if he has another 2-3 seasons anywhere close to what he's been doing,
Mhm.
I think he'll get in there.
Okay, so I said basketball,
First ballot
baseball,
is a little tricky.
football. Aaron Rodgers. I think, regardless if you hate him, he's still to me a first ballot Hall of Famer. And what else we have? That's it. Hockey. Hell.
There's a lot of them. Sidney
McDavid,
Crosby is
Sidney
probably
Crosby.
the easiest one.
I mean, goodness. Yeah. So there you go.
Ovi? Yes, of course.
Yes.
Alex Ovechkin. By the way, there were people who lined up as early as 10 a.m. the other day for Shohei Ohtani bobblehead night at Dodger
They
Stadium.
said this was his fourth bobblehead night he's had.
For the Dodgers or ever?
I think
Probably ever.
Yeah.
People were willing to wait 8 hours before the game, I guess, to get one.
Yeah. I guess they'll sell out. If you make a bobblehead of him, it'll sell out definitely. People will want it. They don't sell them, but do they sell them or they just put them in the seats? How they do the whole bobblehead?
They
thing,
give
Willie?
them to you as you walk in,
Okay.
right? First
I think that's
40,000
right, yeah.
fans or
Oh,
something
okay.
like that get a bobblehead. Dylan, by the way, on Anthony Richardson said not only did he have to be put under, but he had 4 tattoo artists working on his back simultaneously while he was
I
under.
don't get that, man. I don't. Well, again, you're young. You're young. There you go.
And I mean, I am a tattoo aficionado. I have 6 tattoos, but I don't think I could have 4 artists working on me at the same time. And I also don't think I could ever get a back tattoo.
Yeah, that's.
What about you,
too-
Willie? You have any tattoos?
I believe I'm the only individual who lives in East Nashville that does not
You
have
don't
a tattoo.
tat, man.
No
You ain't got a
tattoos.
tat?
I have 0.
We gotta get Willie a tat.
I feel like it's like I'm the guy going the other way. I'm the radical guy without a tattoo.
Your wife has a
It needs
tattoo?
You got to get a tat, Willie. You got to get
Your
a tat.
kids?
My daughter does.
Uh-huh.
My son does not.
Oh, so Mahoney's going down your path, it seems.
So far, I think. Yeah, he's.
Willie, we got to get you a
I
tat.
think he's thinking about getting one though.
What should Willie get as a
I think
tattoo?
eventually he will get one.
Yo, East Nasty, stand up. What tat should Willie get? I'm talking to all those that are in the East Nashville, East Nasty. Stand up right now. What tat should Willie get?
There's a lot of opinions over there. The
Yeah.
the hipsters, they're over there. They're ready.
Grimace.
They're
with
ready
a
for me.
Grimace with a Mets hat. A full back.
Or just get a Met sign.
A full
I don't
back
know.
Grimace tattoo.
Ooh. Oh, and it's purple. Oh, so they got to spend extra time on you with the color. That would hurt, Willie.
I'm not into it. I don't think I would do
Willie,
it.
we're getting you a tat.
I like kind of being the weird guy that doesn't have the tattoo.
No, we're getting you a tat. We're gonna
You think you're going to talk me into it?
no, we're not gonna talk you into it. Adam and I are gonna be like Celtics pride.
So we should all have like DVD,
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
DVD for life.
Well, you're gonna be walking down the street.
Yeah.
You're gonna be walking out of the building. We're just gonna grab you, throw you in a car, and just take you over to East Nash and get you a DVD tat.
We can make it look like the DVD logo, not
Yeah.
our logo, but the DVD logo that used to be on the
Old
covers of
school,
DVDs. Yeah.
That look kind of sweet on your arm, man. There
I'll
you
try
go.
to be open minded.
Apparently, Dylan
Oh,
on our
Dylan
phone
has an
line
idea.
has an idea for a
Oh.
tattoo for Willie. Dylan, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
All right, I have a question for you guys.
Uh-huh.
So Willie, if Vanderbilt ever wins a national championship in football, would you get that tattooed on your back?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And then this is for Derek and Willie. If the Titans win a Super Bowl in the next 10 years, you guys have to get matching Titan Super Bowl tattoos on your forearms.
Listen,
Thank you, Dylan. What do you
listen,
say,
I love
guys?
Dylan.
I wasn't included in this, so I'm out.
I can say a bunch of things. I'm just gonna say no. Just gonna say no.
One texter says for your
No.
tattoo
No.
idea, a Pred saber-toothed tiger wearing a Mets hat with a gold anchor neck chain.
with a Titan sword.
Joel in East Nashville has a suggestion that I absolutely cannot read on air.
Oh, wow.
615-737-1025. If they are appropriate, I will share them. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, some interesting details emerge about Caleb Williams and whether or not he actually wanted to be in Chicago. We'll discuss that coming up next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025, 1063, The Game. D-Mace, Fingan, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Before we get to our next topic, we do have a couple of tattoo suggestions for Willie on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Dylan in Antioch says Willie should get a forearm tattoo of "Oh My Laundry."
What is that?
I don't think so.
Another Dylan says Willie should get a tattoo of Tony from the NCAA office staring at a phone because it's not ringing at his desk.
A stick figure of Tony?
Would he have
What would
long
Tony
hair,
look like?
short hair,
Yeah.
curly hair?
He would look like Mike North,
Yeah. So he have a man bun, a scraggly man
a
bun.
disheveled man bun. And then one texter says that Willie needs a Stillman portrait tattoo.
Oh wow,
How about a picture? How
that'd
about
be iconic.
how
right
about
there.
how about
Portrait
Jared's
on
bar
my arm?
mitzvah portrait photo from his parents' house that Derek thought was the funniest thing ever?
Because he didn't
Oh,
know what
my.
to do with his hands. He was just sitting there, he was standing there.
Oh man. And we will talk to
Oh.
Jared Stillman and company back on today at 2:00. All right. So major news in the NFL. So Seth Wickersham, ESPN reporter, is writing a new book called American Kings, a biography of the quarterback. And the breaking news element of this is that quarterback Caleb Williams, of course, of the Chicago Bears, was so concerned about being picked by the Bears in 2024 that he and his family weighed circumventing the entire NFL draft, consulting with lawyers to figure out a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement while considering signing with the United Football League, according to this book. So some more of the other details in this book. Carl Williams, Caleb Williams' father, went to great lengths to try to circumvent the NFL draft, Wickersham writes, wanting to give his son an opportunity to choose his future employer. The Bears had not drafted a star quarterback since the 1980s, and their recent draft selections, Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields, didn't pan out. Carl Williams was worried that with the franchise's history, stadium uncertainty, and offensive performances under then head coach Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams wouldn't have the organizational support to succeed. Quote, "I don't want my son playing for the Bears," Williams said to several agents in 2024.
That's again the lesson of the dad. It's at this stage when your son is about to be drafted, the dad is out, should be out of the mix. But we see that we have some dads that are otherwise. I don't like that.
Listen, I didn't like it when Mannings did it. I didn't like it, and I don't like
Right.
it now. Because to me, it's like, man, you know how many people want to be the number one pick in the draft? How many people that work their tail off to try to be a draft pick, period? And I get, in this day and age, you want to make it seem like, oh, I want to pick where the popular thing is, oh, I get to pick where I want to go and get to pick here and pick there. I get all that stuff. But there should be a level of sort of humbleness or, a level of appreciation that one should get knowing that they're going to be the number one pick. You're going to be the number one pick to a bad team. That's just the way it is across the board in any sport. When you're the number one pick, you're going to a bad team. But the honor is going to a bad team to make them better.
Yes.
It's everybody wants to go to a ready-made team. Everybody. But that doesn't happen. When you're the first, when you're the number one pick, you're typically not going to a ready-made team unless that team just got extremely hurt during the season. They picking last. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to a ready-made team. It's your responsibility to go to that team to make them a better team. That should be the excitement right there. Not, oh, I don't want to go to that team because no, it's an honor. It's a privilege to get drafted. So approach it as such, like parents. Approach it as such, like it's an honor, a privilege to be drafted.
The ESPN story continues, quote, looking for a way around the league CBA, Carl Williams spoke with Archie Manning, who helped Eli Manning assert a measure of control over his eventual team in 2004. He also met with labor lawyers and agents and even considered whether his son could sign with the UFL and become an unrestricted NFL free agent in 2025 to be able to pick a team. In addition to the draft process, Carl Williams vented about the rookie wage scale, which could lock his son into the team that drafted him for up to 8 years. He calculated hundreds of millions of lost market value income. Quote, "The rookie cap is just unconstitutional," Carl Williams told Wickersham, later adding that the CBA is the, quote, "worst piece of blank I've ever read." It's
well,
the
get
worst
your
in
ass out.
sports history.
Get your ass and your son out of the league then. Excuse my language.
Yeah, go play in the
Go
UFL
play,
if you want.
go play somewhere else, man. Like the league will survive not having you. The league has been here before you and your son, and the league's going to be here after you and your son. The players, the great players that have played before your son, there's going to be great ones that play after your son. Okay? So go play in another. You didn't have to play in the NFL. You could have said, "Hey, listen, don't draft me. I'm not playing in the NFL, period. I'm going to the USFL." You could have done that.
Let me ask this question. Does Caleb Williams, do we believe, is this what he wanted? Is dad just working by himself? Hey, Caleb, let me tell you what's best for you. Or was Caleb going to his dad saying, "Dad, I don't want to play for the Bears." "Okay, son, let me see what I can do."
Well, here's more of the story. After an up-and-down final season at USC, Caleb Williams was unsure of what he wanted to do as he prepared for the 2024 draft. At the NFL Combine that year, he met with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. The two hit it off, and Caleb Williams began to dream of what it would be like to play for Minnesota, which I'm sure is going over swimmingly in Chicago. "I need to go to the Vikings," he told his father. "Let's do it," his father replied. But both Caleb and Carl knew that a trade to a divisional rival was extremely unlikely.
Right. You know why? Because you're not more important than everybody else in the league. You're of equal importance. I think that's what you've been saying.
He could have
Stephen.
stayed in school. He could have stayed the next
Yeah.
year. He could have stayed another year, and he wouldn't have went to the Chicago Bears.
Why would you put this out there now when you are on the Bears? That, you know how fans are in every city, but in Chicago, holy cow. That is going to maybe that's what he wants.
It may not age well.
Maybe
It
he
may
thinks
not
this is
age
how he's
well.
going to get out of Chicago.
This was my favorite part of the story. That left one option: to publicly attack the Bears in the city of Chicago, hoping that it would make the situation untenable, similar to what Jack and John Elway had done with the Baltimore Colts in
Well,
1983.
it's kind of what the Mannings did, right, with San Diego. They basically trashed San Diego and said, "We're not playing there."
Deep dish sucks. I don't want to play there.
Yeah, so
The bean is stupid.
It's too cold.
yeah. So to me, I mean, good thing you don't hear stories like this every year. Every once in a while, I guess you're going to run into a story like this. But I just think, man, listen, it's an honor and a privilege to play in any one of these leagues. Yes, you went out there and worked your tail off to put yourself in a position, but it is truly an honor and a privilege to get drafted, period, but to be drafted number 1 overall. And I don't understand why. I mean, I get it. A book is coming out, but I don't understand, like, my thing with, no, I don't want that. Don't put that in the story. I don't want that to be in the story in your book. I'm with this team now. I'm trying to lead this team to a Super Bowl. I don't need to be telling the fan base I didn't want to come here. How asinine is that?
How
It just-
short-sighted is it?
Exactly. Like,
I mean, to think that you could pull it off, which there was virtually no chance they could pull this off to begin with, and number 2, not thinking of, well, if we can't pull this off and they draft us, what's that going to mean for me? But they obviously didn't care about that.
And he hadn't started winning yet. So how do you
No.
think this is going to go over if the Chicago Bears continue to be what they have been for the last decade almost?
Do you think he's going to have a press conference where he says, "You know all that stuff that I said in the book?" And my dad said, "We didn't mean any of that."
As fate would have it, the Monday Night Football schedule kicks off when the Ben Johnson-led Chicago Bears play the Minnesota Vikings.
There you. And what
Do you
is going
think
to be
Mike
the
North?
talk?
Do you think Mike North knew that when he was playing the schedule? Hey, did you see this book? Did you see this book? We have to put the Vikings and the Bears on Monday Night Football. We have to.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Like, listen, this is this is going to be a distraction for Chicago. It will be, no doubt. It will be a
I
distraction
agree.
throughout camp.
We have a clip of Ben Johnson, the new Chicago Bears head coach, on the Colin Cowherd show, answering the question from Colin Cowherd about whether or not this is going to be a distraction.
How do you ensure that when there are bumps in this division, and there are bumps for him, that those fears that are now reported of, oh man, this organization and quarterback, he's had those. That's okay. Some installed by his dad, whatever. How do you ensure during the turbulence of this season, and there will be, your division's too good. There's too many good teams on the schedule. How do you ensure he doesn't lose faith and belief in your system?
Well, you talk about fears, and I don't see it quite the same way. I see this as what a great opportunity we have to do something that really has never been done. There hasn't been a 4,000-yard passer here in this franchise, and I think Caleb's going to be the first one, and one of many years, many seasons to come where he's able to accomplish that feat. So I see a chance for greatness here for him. He's been communicated that way, and he feels the same way. I don't know what's gone on prior to him joining the organization, but he is very proud to be a Chicago Bear. That's what our conversations have included, and he's really excited to get to work right now and be the best version of himself for 2025. There's no question we're going to face adversity. Both he will. He's not going to. We want to see growth from here to here over the course of the season. And it's not going to be linear growth. It's going to be a little bit of ups and downs and stair steps along the way. But we want to see from game 1 to game 17 that we're getting better as a whole. And that's not just him. That's us as a team as well. So I'm excited. That's what makes coaching fun, is when the hiccups occur, when the adversity strikes, how do we respond to it? That's when you find out who you are as a man.
When the adversity that your own quarterback creates for himself strikes, there's an opportunity there. That's
anything can be twisted into adversity to overcome, even if you're the one who created the adversity to begin with.
But then
he wrote it in his own book.
Yeah,
this is not some unnamed guy making up stuff. You know,
he said this is what happened prior to the draft, and now he's letting you in on it, which I don't think was the wisest decision. Especially you still being the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And for, coach to say, well, he's going to be the first 4,000-yard passer. Who gives a damn if you're not winning games? Who cares if you throw for 4,000 yards if you ain't winning a game? If you're not getting to the playoffs. If it seems like, so what you're saying is he's going to be happy because he's going to be throwing for a lot of yards. That's basically what you're saying. He'll be fine because he's gonna be racking up the yardage. You ain't say nothing about the damn wins.
It already you can see what a difficult position the coach is put in before they ever play a game. And it's not gonna be the last time that comes up. So he has forced his coach to do that. And the coach said the only thing he could possibly say in that. He handled that question well. I'm sure he thought about what am I going to say? And he's going to have to continue with that all the way through.
I do wonder how Caleb Williams is going to answer these questions.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Dad.
OTAs.
But he could. I'm sure. Like his choice,
say.
He could say, "Hey, that was my dad. That wasn't me." I mean, he could.
He's not going to even put on his dad,
except for the quote apparently where he says, "I need to go to the Vikings."
Yeah, all he's going to say is, "I'm in Chicago now. I'm concentrating on Chicago.
Yeah,
I'm the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. I want to be the quarterback." That's what he's going to say. He's going to try to backpedal and walk as far away as he can from those comments that he made or what his father was trying to do. He's going to walk himself as far as possible from that when they ask him those questions. He's going to talk about the season, talk about how excited he is to be a Bear, but he wasn't that damn excited a year ago, 2 years ago when they drafted him.
You got to love a crazy sports parent,
Yeah.
LeVar Ball had his moment a few years ago.
Yeah.
There's a long list of crazy sports parents out there.
I understand parents being advocates for their kids. I get it. But when your kid's a grown-ass man or grown woman, I mean, come on. You got to put that you got to put the advocacy to the side for a second. You can't, because it doesn't affect you. It affects him. Okay, that's what parents got to understand. You can't say too much to them when they're in, high school or college, because they're still teenagers, or they're under their parents' supervision. But the minute you take a grown-up job, parents, sit back, stand back a little bit.
Empower your
mine.
child to make
Exactly.
their own decision
Absolutely.
at the right time. You can be
for support. You can be there for
yes,
support.
you can be a confidant.
Exactly.
You can be, the troubleshooter. You could be the person. You could give advice, but you can't go public and, son, okay, let's make it happen. Vikings 2025.
Exactly. It's just like, man, you're doing more harm than
Let's
good.
do something that nobody's really allowed to do, but we're going to find a way, son.
We're going to find a way. We're going to ask these lawyers to find out a way, find out how can we circumvent.
Yeah.
Don't you think the NFL
you said
thought
this
about
before,
all those
and I
things
agree.
that you're
I didn't
thinking
like
about?
the Manning thing, the way they did that whole thing with the Chargers. I didn't like that at all.
We do have an update from Nick Frazier.
What's up?
About
hot dogs?
Your hot dogs. He texted in. He said, had to run some errands and was notified about food by someone as if the bat signal went off. Thank you, Willie and D-Mace, for the endorsement. If you want a number of hot dogs I could put down in 10 minutes, maybe 12 to 15-ish. In one sitting untimed, I've eaten 20. And shots fired. Skillet is not a pet. He is an investment on my well-being for nourishment. Breakfast sausage, pork butt, pork chops. Yum, yum, yum. Delicious. He named the pig Skillet, and he's going to eat it.
In a skillet.
In a skillet. I wouldn't want to grow attached to it by naming it.
But that's Frage, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's Frage. That's why I would pick him to eat the hot dog.
615-737-1025. Your thoughts on this Caleb Williams story and how the hell he's going to save face in Chicago now, especially because he apparently wanted to go to Minnesota. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, I want to touch on a Titans topic that Jake Lyman and I talked about a little bit with Teron Davenport yesterday on the TD Power Hour. We'll do that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025, 1063, The Game. D. Mace Vingan and Donick 1025, 1063 the game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. We will take it to the bank in the next segment. We'll also welcome back Jared Stillman as he returns from vacation. Joe Rexrow did a pretty mean Jared Stillman impression the other day on Wednesday.
I thought it was pretty good.
I asked Jared if he listened to Joe and Paul do a show, and he said no, because I guess he doesn't like listening to other people in his time slot.
Well, don't miss your time slot then.
Don't go on vacation then.
No more vacations for Stillman.
I hope he's well rested. I assume, and I have a couple of bones to pick with Jared, which I will do when he comes on.
Oh, exciting. I can't wait to hear
I
this.
assume that this was the first vacation that he and his girlfriend have had since their son was born. You have to enjoy those moments because it doesn't happen very often.
Yep. The days of going on
Do you
vacation
all remember your first vacation
by yourself
without
It's
your little
gone.
ones?
Without the little ones?
Yes.
Oh man.
Oh. I'm trying to remember exactly when that would
My
have been.
honeymoon, and then wow, yeah. I don't think we went on many trips where it was without the kids. Unless it was
Yeah.
like a quick trip to like New York or something. You know, we would do that, but you talking about a big trip? No, we didn't. The kids were there.
I don't remember a big trip early on. A big
Yeah.
like a full week
Vegas,
without
we went
the
to
kids?
Vegas twice without the kids, so I guess
Vegas is more family friendly than it used to be.
it wasn't family friendly then. Sorry, you don't want to take kids now.
My wife and I went away for like 4 or 5 nights,
Mhm.
like a year and a half ago. And when we got there, we put down our bags, we were relaxed, and then at dinner time, I was like, I miss my son. I hope he's okay.
And
now I'm
Arla
just-
was chilling.
And now when my wife and son go visit her parents and leave me at home, I'm like, yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Come slide through.
So take those off records.
Oh,
I do
man.
have those slick, concrete floors, so I would definitely slide across like Tom Cruise.
Oh man.
Oh man! But
Risky
yesterday,
business.
Robert, by the way, says 42 with two teenagers never had a vacation.
Yeah.
Robert, you deserve a
Ouch.
vacation, my friend.
Yes, you do. Man, goodness.
So yesterday, Jake Lyman and I had Teron Davenport on for the TD Power Hour. And we were talking about a story that Teron wrote for ESPN.com. Titans working to make number 1 pick Cam Ward comfortable. And Teron writes in the story, the Titans hope to replicate the early success of recent rookie quarterbacks Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud. Tennessee is looking to follow the paths that the Houston Texans took with Stroud as a rookie in 2023, and the Commanders did with Daniels last season. Both resulted in being named Offensive Rookie of the Year while leading their teams to the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying that the Titans are going to go to the playoffs with Cam Ward, a quarterback, in his first season. But then I noticed this quote that Mike Borgonzi gave Teron exclusively. Quote, I remember watching Daniels the first few weeks, and they were running the football. I don't know if he threw the ball downfield the whole time. There's a lot of perimeter throws, get his confidence up. They did a great job just in terms of bringing him along throughout the year. And I read a story about how the Commanders, after they drafted Jaden Daniels, one of the things that they really wanted to do was increase the amount of times they ran the ball, because the year before they drafted Jaden Daniels, when they had Sam Howell, they threw the ball more than any team in the NFL by a wide margin. So I did some number crunching. I did my little nerdy research that in the first 5 weeks of last season, the Commanders' pass play percentage was 46.5%. The remainder of the schedule, it increased to 54.5%. Jaden Daniels averaged 26.2 passing attempts per game in his first 5 starts, 33.5 in his 10 full games after that, because he had 2 games shortened by injury. So an obvious increase in the number of times that Jaden Daniels threw the ball over the course of the season. So I am wondering, Derek, if the Titans may take a similar tact with Cam Ward.
They should. In my experience with rookie quarterbacks, I think it's best the way you set them up for, or at least how you try to set them up for success, is surrounding them with, facets of the game that are strong. I mean, either a strong defense or strong running game, because both of them takes the pressure off the quarterback having to score 21, 28, 35 points, and putting that quarterback in a position where he's not. It's almost like he's not really growing or developing. He's just throwing the football because y'all are up. Y'all are down 20, 30, 20 points, and now we just got to score points. And there's really no developing within that. Not the way you want it anyway. If you get you a good run game, I saw this with Joe. Get you a really good run game, get you a defense, and sort of methodically allow him to develop within offense. So the first 4 weeks you bring him on, depending on who you're playing, you want to be in a position where the game isn't on his shoulders.
Well, let's look at the Titans' first few games. They play at Denver in week 1, arguably the best defense in the NFL. Led the NFL in sacks last season, have a defensive player of the year, the reigning defensive player of the year in the secondary, then home games against the Rams and the Colts before a 3-game road trip. So how would you approach it based on the schedule that the Titans have?
I would approach it like any other head coach that's dealing with the rookie quarterback. I would approach it as if, we're going to run and play good defense. We are going to give you plays that you feel comfortable with, combinations that you feel comfortable with. We're going to do that slowly and try to, bring you along that way. And it may equate to wins. It may not equate to wins. But what we're trying to do is develop you as a quarterback. So we need all hands on deck, running backs, defense, offensive line. We got to make sure we're doing our job to make the quarterback's job as easy as possible until he starts to truly feel comfortable. You will see that mark. If it does happen this year, you will see it where it jumps from, okay, the rookie Cam to, okay, he's learning Cam. It's going to be evident, whether it's at the 3 games, 4 games. But if he's making that transition, you will see it. You saw it in Washington with Jaden Daniels. You saw it with CJ Stroud. There comes a point in the season where if you're developing the right way and you're doing things, you start to see that jump.
Based on the research I did, it looked like it happened for Jaden Daniels after 5 weeks. The first 5 weeks, it was run heavy, and then it got more pass heavy as the season progressed.
I would like to know how much that was planned out or how much that just happened naturally. And they were a lot better than people thought they were going to be. I'd have to go back and really, because I'm skeptical that you can do that you can actually lay out a plan at that level and say, this is how we're going to do it, because so many things can get in the way. Like the situation of the game can dictate some things. Injuries dictated things. You can try to do this, but your supporting cast just may not allow you to do it. You might say, hey, let's support him with a good running game. And you might think you have a good running game, but what if you're just not running the ball very well? Do you scrap everything? Like, these are the kind of things that if you have a minor league development program to put a guy through, like let's take a young pitcher who gets drafted out of college or high school. Well, let's start him at the lowest level. Let's put him against a level of competition to where he can have some success, but he can learn how to refine some of the tools, and you bring him along slowly, and there's not a real timetable. But when you're trying to sort of develop a guy at the highest level when he's at a rookie, it becomes very, very difficult. You can try all these things, and that it sounds like a really good success story that Washington had. But I would say for everyone that worked like that, there's probably 10 that the team like, yeah, we tried to do that. It didn't work at all. By the second game, we had scrapped the whole thing. It's just hard to pull that off.
But I mean, yeah,
it sounds great.
I think every organization, well, they should when it comes to every organization has a plan on how they want, things to go. Some plans are sped up because the player just gets in there and he knows everything, and it's like, okay, we can add some more and we can keep going. And some plans sort of take a back seat, sort of take a step back, i.e. Anthony Richardson. Like, we're trying to go take
I'm
this
sure
thing
they have
slow,
plans.
yeah, but it's not going the way we thought it was, so let's back off a little bit more. They even went to they just benched him. You know,
And he got hurt the year
He got
before.
hurt, yeah.
And so that scrapped whatever plan they had after 4 weeks or whatever that was against the Titans. where
Exactly.
he got
So
hurt.
you can have a plan, and I know Borgonzi, Brian Callahan, more so Brian Callahan because he's the coach. I'm sure that coaching staff has a plan for him, and they would like either the ability to expedite that plan because why? He's learning so much, and we didn't think he would learn this fast. They don't want to have to step back. They took step backs with Will Levis, and it didn't work. They don't want to have to take a step back. They want to be able to do this thing methodically. And it may work, it may not, but their thing is let's not put too much on them at once. TD has already talked about it, them possibly trying to take a little bit of what the Hurricanes did and implement it off it to make him feel comfortable. And as he started to feel comfortable, we could add more and more to his plate.
In the minor leagues, where the results don't matter as much, they don't matter more than the development. You can afford to lose some games. I will give you a hypothetical that could happen where you're, as a coach, I don't think you're thinking about, hey, well, let's make him feel comfortable.
There's
Let's
Mike
think
North.
about the development.
He's all over the show today.
Yeah,
There's
Mike
North.
North is on NFL Network. Oh, yeah, here he is.
Oh, man.
Don't get us started on this guy.
Or do.
But, all right, let's say you want to do all this,
Uh-huh.
but you're at home against the Rams, and it's the fourth quarter. You're down by 8 points. You're like, well, let's not take too many chances. Let's call plays where we're not going down the field. If you're trying to win the game,
I mean,
you have to come out of that.
But then those are
or if you're down 17-0 early and you're still trying to win the game, you might have to abandon that. Or do you
But-
sit there and say, well, we just kept running the ball. We were down 17-0. We kept running the ball because we just didn't want to put Cam in a position where he had to take chances or he
No.
doesn't know the playbook. Well, I just don't think that flies.
It doesn't when you talk about because those are built into your plan. Like we know we're going to have some games where he's going to have to throw the football a little bit more than what we may want him to. But we are going. There was 2 coaches that stuck to the game plan no matter what, and we saw success because of that. Steve McNair, Jeff Fisher stuck to the plan. He stuck to it. Regardless of what was going, he stuck to the plan. And what happened? Steve McNair wins MVP. He gets into the Super Bowl. We become more of a passing team. Why? Because they took the time. Now I get it.
Took
We
a
don't
lot
have-
of time.
We
Yeah.
don't have that much time anymore. I understand that. But what Baltimore did with Joe Flacco, regardless of if we were up or down, they stuck to the plan. They didn't allow him to throw it just because we were down 14 points or 7. They didn't say, okay, you can throw the ball 40 times. No. We are going to methodically find a way to get back in this game. Because like you said, it's not necessarily about wins or losses. It's about developing that quarterback. But we know we got a good enough team that even if he doesn't throw the ball 40 times, we are capable of winning. We don't, even though we're down 14, 17 points, we don't need to all of a sudden now abandon what we wanted to do. We're going to continue to run the football. We're going to continue to play great defense. It happens. You just got to be disciplined to be able to stick with it. Some coaches are, some coaches aren't.
615-737-1025. We will wrap up the week by taking it to the bank, and we'll welcome back Jared Stillman. We'll do that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025-1063 The Game. D. Mace Finn Ganadonic 1025, 1063 the game. It's time to take it to the bank with our friends at F&M Bank. Their mission is to make lives better by making banking easier. Before we welcome back Jared Stillman, we're going to quickly do our take it to the bank question of the week. Which team has the best chance to force Game 7? The Boston Celtics against the New York Knicks, the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Florida Panthers, or the Winnipeg Jets against the Dallas Stars? Willie Donick, why don't you go first?
I'm gonna go with the Jets. I just
Which would require them to win a game on the road. Which
and,
they don't do.
And Connor Hellebuck has now lost what 9?
I believe it's 9
times.
consecutive road. Yep, 9 consecutive road playoff
times
starts
in a row on the road. I think he's starting to come around a little bit. I think they're figuring out how to play a little better. Rantanen hasn't blown them away in the last couple of games like he did earlier in the series. I think they have a better formula. I am going to go with the Jets. I don't know if I love any of the three teams' chances. I'm really curious to see what the Maple Leafs look like after the debacle.
That's tonight.
And that is tonight. And I'll tell you what, if they go quietly, it will be the end of the era, because I think Mitch Marner will be gone. I think John Tavares will be gone. And the core four will have never really gone deep in the playoffs.
Never past the second round.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that easy for the Panthers. On paper, it looks like it. The Panthers have got a stranglehold, and I'm going to lean that way. So I'm going to go with the Jets.
Derek?
Listening to Elliott yesterday, he convinced me that Florida was probably the best team.
The best all around. I would agree with that. Yeah. They are really strong.
So I can't go with Toronto, the Maple Leafs. I'm nope. After listening to Elliott, nope, I'm not going that route. Boston, the Boston game.
See, now yesterday I asked you about this, right?
And I'm like, the Knicks.
You think the Knicks are going to win?
I think the Knicks are going to win it, man. Gosh, but Karl Anthony Towns got to figure out a way to become a low post player. Just shoot outside. Don't even worry about the low post. Just shoot the 3-pointers.
Nobody posts up anymore.
Exactly. Anyway, so I'm going with Winnipeg. I'm going with Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg comes back and they make this a 7-game series.
I'm going to go with the Celtics to win one more game at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
I'm going to do it because I want to see Knicks fans squirm the way that Toronto Maple Leafs fans are squirming right now.
I think they're kind of there's a common bond there. Big city, disappointing so many times.
So I'll pick the Celtics. I'm not going to say that they won the series, but I'll take the Celtics at Madison Square Garden. David
so
James.
we all can get points here.
Yes.
What
about you, David?
I like chaos. I want to
That's
see,
my thing, if you haven't noticed.
No, it really is. I want to see just Toronto fans just go absolutely ballistic. I think Florida can do it.
Okay. Well, Florida's down. Florida's up 3-2. So do you think?
No, Toronto. Yeah, never mind. Then Toronto, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see if Toronto can do it. We welcome in the well-rested, tan, I assume, Jared Stillman. Hello, Jared. How are you?
It's so good to be back on the program. Did you guys miss me?
Of
No,
course.
no.
I've got a couple of bones to pick with you, Jared
No,
Stillman.
We love you, but
I missed you, Jared.
Give me your bones, Adam. By the way, what's the beef with Mike North? I was listening in the last segment.
you didn't hear
just play the
you
sound.
Mike North. I mean, man.
Listen to this. Listen to the start of the show.
I'm
Listen
not
to the start
mad
of the
at him,
show.
but it's just the way he explained everything. It was
Yes.
just like, seriously, dude.
So
come on.
I have a question for you. I assume, well, this is more of a statement. I assume that your recently completed vacation was the first time that you and your girlfriend have been away from your infant son since he was born for any extended period of time. Is that correct?
Like both of us?
Yes.
You don't know?
Yes.
You had to think
Well, she
about
was
that.
gone for a week in Canada, and I was gone for a week at the Super Bowl.
But he
other
said
than
together.
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 It was the
yes,
first
that
time
would be
that,
the
as a
first time we
couple,
were,
you
yes.
were apart from the little one for an extended period of time. You tweeted way too damn much on your vacation.
Let me tell you something. I think we had a great time.
It's not
on
about
our
that.
vacation.
It's not about that, Stillman.
And it was funny because I had like limited Wi-Fi. And so what I would do is I would download like podcast episodes of this show and Robbie and Joe, and I would just go like sit by the pool. You know, she's like a big avid reader. She would just sit by the pool and read, and I would just sit by the pool or be in the pool, and I'd just be listening to the shows. And I'd be sitting there saying, oh my God, Chase said with Adam the other day, he said, what was the crazy? He said, I don't know how I'm trying to put together a team. I don't know how you can leave Xavier Restrepo off of it. I'm like, I know how you can leave a backup slot receiver who doesn't play special teams and runs a 4.85. I know how you can leave him off the team.
Okay, so
There
that leads
are a lot
me
of other guys to add in.
That leads me into my second thing, which is this tweet, which is an all-timer from you, Jared, from May 10th. Quote, why does Titans Twitter want Xavier Restrepo to be a star? You drafted 2 rookie wide receivers who actually run. You should be cheering for them. Restrepo can't play outside or do anything meaningful on special teams. Who cares that he's Cam Ward's buddy? Cam can get new, better ones. Jared, it reminded me of like when you go when you go off to college and you tell your high school
Need
friends,
to go make new friends.
right? You tell your high school friends,
Yep.
oh yeah, we'll stay in touch. Then you go meet your new friends. Then you come home for Thanksgiving and your high school friends want to get together. And you're like, I've got new friends now. I don't need you anymore.
We've grown apart.
Why can't Titans fans want Xavier Restrepo to be a productive member of the team?
Yes.
Because it's too overboard for an undrafted free agent. I mean, I heard.
But what if
Cam
he's
Ward
good? If he's good,
up
he's
at the
good. If he's
podium.
not, they'll cut him.
Titan fans will be devastated.
No,
if
they won't.
cut
They'll
him.
get over it.
You want the
They'll get
players
over
that
it.
actually have talent that you drafted to
Jared,
be good.
I think
not
they'll
the
go
guy
over it.
who's
I think they would get
not
over
the
it.
biggest Scarbini on the team.
Jared,
I wonder.
He
if
will
this
show if
team-
he's good or not.
I wonder if this team, if he doesn't, has the balls to go to Cam Ward and say,
Yes.
"Hey, we're cutting your buddy."
Absolutely.
I don't know if they do.
They will.
I do not know
Absolutely.
that.
He's not good enough.
But I mean, Cam Ward at his
Just put him
press
on the
conference
practice
the other
squad.
day,
Whatever.
and I don't know if anybody brought this up or Cam Ward was like, I pushed every team that I visited with to look
Why
at Xavier
wouldn't you?
Restrepo. I think he's the most underrated receiver in the draft. I heard that, and I'm like, okay, now pull out a notebook where you break down every wide receiver in the draft. You tell me, Cam says he's the most underrated wide receiver in the draft, which is factually inaccurate because Xavier Restrepo was not in the draft. But again, you break down all the, or is it your buddy? Because you don't have the experience. Cam Ward, I'm asking you to play quarterback. I'm not asking you to be GM. And I just think that this is, to me, this is like Titan fans. They want this Hallmark meets terrible Netflix meets Nickelodeon movie to, come to fruition where Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo, 2 best buddies from the first day of whatever, college, whatever. It's like angels in the outfield. They want
Why
that
would you-
feel-good story.
Why would
And
you
I'm
want
sorry,
it?
I want good players.
What
to
if he
be
turns
good.
out to be a good? He is a listen. Had he not run a 4.8, and I know if it's a big if, but had he not run a 4.8, he said he would have run a 4.5. He would have got drafted. The guy was productive in college. With
But
the
you know that there's a
quarterback that was
massive difference
drafted.
between a 4.8 and a 4.5.
I get it.
You ran a 4.5.
I get
You were fast.
I understand.
The guys that run 4.8s are tight ends.
But
But when
Jared,
you,
hold on.
when
Are
you turn on the
not
film,
even fast
hold
tight
on.
ends.
When you turn on the film, does he
Oh,
look
okay.
like a 4.8?
Okay.
No,
I
seriously.
know.
No.
I know.
It's a serious
Brian
question.
Callahan made the comment. And people were tweeting this at me the other day
Uh-huh.
about how Brian Callahan said, you watch the film and it doesn't look like he would have run that time. Well, he ran that time, and you, talking about the Titans,
Mhm.
you didn't draft him because he ran that time.
But they brought him in because he's a good football player. They feel.
That's not why they brought him in,
Why did they bring him in? Other
because
than
he's
Cam-
Cam's buddy.
So you think they chose to bring him in because he's Cam Buddy, knowing that he ain't got no talent? If
Yes.
that's the case, that's what you're saying.
Are you implying that they would
Yes.
keep him if he doesn't deserve to make the team just to
I'm
make Cam
worried
feel
that
good?
they will.
Well, we'll have to wait for that. But
I don't
this-
know
but
unless
Jared,
Xavier
here's what you've done.
Restrepo outplays.
Here's what
Tyler
you've done,
Lockett.
though, Jared. You have allowed Adam to get a huge victory because we have established that Adam's first ball that you tweeted too much while you were on vacation. You've been exposed. You were tweeting, and you said people were tweeting at me. You were tweeting back. You were on vacation. You're
Exactly.
supposed to be getting
Somebody-
away from that.
Somebody replied to
You're supposed
you
to be taking
on
a
that
break.
Xavier Restrepo take.
I'm allowed to do
that
whatever I want.
someone-
Yes, you are.
Somebody replied
But
to
I
you.
thought you would be, going into the arts,
See,
doing some
this is-
things, getting away
This
from
is the
sports
difference
for a while.
between everybody else and I shouldn't say everybody else and me. This is the difference between me and people that don't love their jobs. Like I'm sitting there in Costa Rica trying to figure out, okay, if the game is on TNT, if the Maple Leafs game is, how do I get thank God we have the Canadian Broadcasting Channel somehow on the TV in the hotel. So we watched the Leafs crap their pants twice while we were in Costa Rica.
I just want-
care.
I just want to point out before we leave that there is a reply to this tweet from someone who said, and I quote, "I cannot wait for the day one of the players slaps the F out of you." It has 246 likes.
No, I don't.
You know what
I
my
don't.
favorite thing about
listen,
that
I don't.
'Cause I'm like, do you think that's actually going to happen?
I
Because I
don't
think it
want
would have
that.
happened by now.
I
if it
don't
was gonna
want
happen.
that to happen to Stillman. But Jared, Xavier Restrepo, regardless of what Cam said about him and in regards to vouching for him, when you put on the tape, go watch the tape. Is he or is he not a good player? Regardless of the 40 time, I understand. I'm not going to argue with the 40 time because it is damn slow, molasses slow. But when you turn on the tape, you can't honestly tell me that he's not a good player.
Well, can't you say that about all these?
No.
college
Like
Graham Harrell at Texas
no.
Tech?
I'm asking about Restrepo.
He threw for 9,000 yards.
I'm asking about Restrepo. When you turn on the tape, do you think he's a good player? Had he run a 4.5, would he been worthy enough for the Titans to draft him?
Had he run a 4.5? Yes.
Okay, then
Yes.
it's the same thing.
And if he was 6'8",
he didn't get
drafted.
drafted. You know what he did? He didn't get drafted
He's
because
short.
He didn't get drafted because he's a
he's
4.8
slow.
guy. But that doesn't mean I can't bring him to my. I can't get him as an undrafted free agent and see how
is
it
he
works.
gonna make the team?
Just like everybody else make the team. Prove it.
Okay, but
go out
again,
there and make plays.
Let's
They
be
didn't think I
realistic
was
here.
going to make the team as a 4th round draft pick, but you know what
You
I
were
did?
drafted in the 4th round, Derek.
Exactly. But still, I was the second.
Derek, I know the guy who
I was the
drafted you. I
second
promise you, he
receiver.
drafted you in the 4th round with the intention of you being on the team.
No, I get that part. What I'm saying is this: I went out there and I had to prove it that I belonged in that league. Why can't Restrepo just prove it?
But
just
Derek,
let him
do
prove
you know
it.
why? Do you know why you survived when they brought in Carl Pickens and Isaac Bird got?
Because I was
the
good.
boot
I was damn
and-
good. That's why.
But do you know what? But do you know what you did on that team? Like you, even though you weren't a starter on
Oh,
offense at
special
that
teams.
point.
Special teams. You're
Yes.
right. Yes.
He
you're
can't
absolutely
do
right.
that.
Well, they're gonna give him a shot to do it.
A 4.8 gunner.
Hey, bro, they're gonna give him a shot to do it. And all I'm saying.
When
is
do I
that
get to go out and try out at gunner?
You can if they let you.
Jared,
I might run the same speed as Restrepo.
we're happy. Don't give yourself that much credit. Jared, we're happy to
Restrepo's
have
a
you
good
back.
player.
We missed you. Stillman and Company coming up next.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, wonderful weekend. Peace. Love you, Jared.